I like how the first thing that comes up when you start to stream and you haven't put down any specifics is the, well, comes up when you start to stream and you have, it gives you the, well, you can stream for up to 8 hours. Like it's a work shift. And yeah, that was me being stupid and forgetting to mute the watch page. Because, yeah, I do that kind of thing. And I just have to make sure here because I've been bouncing around back and forth. Oh. I haven't drank today, but I feel hungover. I think it's because, I don't know if this happens to you all, but you get a little blurry, a little lethargic because you spent so much time conscious doing nothing that you're just kind of run down and unmotivated. That's pretty much where my head's at right now. Now I did have a little hullabaloo, a little bit of a dust up for the past 2 days. And that was because my CPU was set to arrive yesterday. Well, and it was supposed to arrive via our friends in Big Brown, UPS. And honestly, we always thought the acronym for UPS, it meant you people suck because they really just don't give a shit. I've seen some very odd things happen. Some very, very weird deliveries in the past many years when I used to do phone service and we used to have to do package tracking. Before it was like a completely civilian available thing. So I went with the tracking. I hung out. They said it was out for delivery yesterday. Now, I also got a piece of the new gear from the Postal Service, USPS. And USPS basically dropped the package in between the door and the screen door at 11:50. Now, the reason why I cite this is because I went down, I got the package, I opened it downstairs, and I also went ahead and fixed me a pepperoni and cheese sandwich. And I made my sandwich. I even cracked some ice out to take upstairs with me to put in the glass. Took up the new piece for the gear, and I go and check the UPS website. So, yeah, as you can guess, this probably took me about 15 minutes. So I sit down, I pull up the UPS website, I click on it to follow tracking, and it says unable to deliver, no one available to receive package. Guess what time it said? And good morning, cadet.
Evening, Doc.
It said that they attempted the delivery at 12:01. Now, I've always admitted I'm not very good at meridian math, but I'm pretty sure my ass was downstairs and next to the actual door that they would have had to have knocked on. I mean, I was just there picking up mail from USPS. So I call them up and I start raising holy hell. And they're like, "Oh, well, he said he stopped." And I'm like, "Yeah, he said he stopped." And I don't know if a lot of people, especially if you're in not so nice neighborhoods, they do what's called a knock and run.
Mm-hmm.
And basically they already have like the little white sticky note ready to go.
Yeah.
And I take a look. I go back downstairs. I take a look. There's nothing on the door. Now, we're living in a house that was built at the turn of the century. So it actually has two doors. It's got a pantry entrance because they're used to, back in the day, at early 1900s, there would be a door leading into the sitting room before you would, it even has like, the little shutter sleeve doors that pull across so you can, entertain.
Yeah.
Um, and then it's got what they call a surface entrance, which is essentially a door leading directly to the kitchen. Oh, sorry, getting a little bit of water.
No worries.
So the door that we use, we just basically put a bookshelf because we're in the ghetto. So as many access points as you can block off is good,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're dealing with hookers and crackheads and people who, if they think you've got something, they want it for themselves. So
Trust me, I know that all too well.
yeah, so we basically put a bookshelf in front of the pantry door. We put a little sign on the window that says, "Please use other door," with a big arrow pointing towards the kitchen door. And I went out. I took a look. I even went and took a look at the mailbox, which was our mailboxes are. It's a duplex, so the
Yeah.
mailboxes are right there next to the pantry entrance, the entertainer's entrance, so to speak. And bold as day, the son of a bitch had tagged the door that says, "Please use other door." But I heard no knocking whatsoever. And I was down there at the time. So they said, "Well, we'll go ahead and we'll get that redelivered out tonight." All right,
Damn.
cool.
It's fucking right you will. Little fucks.
So um, I I honestly was kind of out of my upstairs downstairs trips. So stepdaughter volunteered to post herself downstairs. So when it came, she'd just jump up and grab it. Well, she was there till about 9 o'clock and nobody showed up. And I told her straight up, I said, "You might as well just come back upstairs because this shit's not going to resolve itself anymore." I mean, I was technically in the middle of doing doctor on call. And I noticed it was like 9 o'clock, and I muted myself while Occam was talking. I yelled down. I was like, "Hey, anything coming?" They're like, "No, nothing's come yet." And I'm like, give it up then, because they're not going to be here. If they're not
Oh,
here by 8, then they're going to be home. This isn't Christmas hours.
yeah. Muffin Button. Hi, Muffin. That's my muffin, by the way. Is saying that they do that even when you're a nice neighborhood.
No, I know it's definitely a big practice. when the holiday seasons roll around. And I should say good morning to Deborah. Good morning, William. Good morning, Brian. And good wrenching, Muffin Button.
And Gulf City Cult of Krill.
There we go. Well, I just saw that first, so I wanted to make sure that I wrench Muffin.
Yeah.
And yes, a very good morning to Gulf City, the Cult of Krill. By the way, Krill, you know that next week's Doctor on Call show, next Tuesday's Doctor on Call show is going to be Justin Smith, right? So we'll have Ghastly in house and be interviewing him. Oh, so I go ahead and I call UPS back.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, that was pretty much a fruitless endeavor. Oh well, let's go ahead and get you over to customer service so you can talk to them. I'm like, I thought you guys were customer service. No, we just answer the phones. And this was like almost 11 o'clock at night. So you can guess that I got transferred over to voicemail. And I'm like, no, fuck that. So as soon as I got up in the morning, first thing I did was I called them. And I was in a mood.
Oh yeah.
Because that's like being a kid at Christmas and Santa was in stealth mode, so you never heard him coming and you never actually saw anything either, but he ate the damn cookies. So I call them, I give them what for, and they're like, oh yeah, we'll have somebody out there, we promise. And I'm like, listen, I'm not making this tough for you guys. I literally have a sign on the door that we don't use that says, please use other door. Then when you get to that other door, it literally says, we are disabled. It may take us a few minutes to get to this door. And it's a color sign, and it's in English. And I said, listen, we've got everything laid out that we can do on our side to tell you that we're old and slow and it's going to take us time to get to where we need to be. They're like, okay, well, I'll make sure and I'll put that in the notes for the driver. And I was like, here's my phone number. If he gets to the door and does a knocking and nothing happens, then have him call me. I will be conscious. More than likely, when he calls me, I'll be making my way down my own goddamn steps. So, let's do this in a way that's going to be pleasing to the customer, which just so happens to be me. And this was probably between 8:30 and 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
AM, of course. So I'm up and I'm up and I'm up. And it was kind of nice just because I've been getting to bed so late. And then I've been sleeping through most of Morning Decay. And I like Morning Decay. I recommend Morning Decay to everybody. They start at roughly 9 and they go to about 11:30. And so I got a chance to get in all of Morning Decay without a delivery. I got a chance to get in.
Oh, don't do that. No, Doc, no.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You been failing? Has your insomnia been failing you lately?
That just no. It's the power of inactivity, of just not doing shit for most of the day today. And now I've got this. So the body's like, you've had enough for today.
Yeah, no, my body's been kind of like that today too. Like I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna make it through the night.
Oh yeah, I'm ready to go for this. It's just the body has to make fun of me. Malachi, good morning.
Morning, Malachite. I know,
And
Muffin. Why are you not asleep yet?
uh, so I get through that. I get through all of the Kumite today, which I don't really want to. I don't really want to talk about what Kumite was doing today. At least I will say Morning Decay is having fun, and it's not well, you know, he said, she said show. It's a, okay, things are stupid, so let's make drawings about it and let's just make fun of it. You know, you can stand by and, you know, what, you can watch a car wreck, but you don't have to participate in it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes much sense, but it does to me. So yeah, I got through both shows. Blackout was not on, so I went ahead and I watched the. It was the very first mockumentary ever made. It was made back in 1978. It was called The Ruddles. All You Need Is Cash, and it was a parody of the Beatles. So that's why I'm making. That's why I made the title of this "Ode to Dirk, Barry, Stig, and Nasty," because they were the prefab 4.
Mm-hmm.
I got to watch all of that too, and that was like 90 minutes. So I got to watch all of that, and wifey's just staring at me because we were supposed to do food pantry runs today because it was her day off. And I'm like, honey, you know how I am. I've got the OCD. So I'm going to have to sit here and wait until they show up. And she's like, well, what if they don't show up? And I was like, well, if they don't show up, I know where the local UPS hub is. And this will be my last time driving because I will take the vehicle and I will drive it right into their facility. And I will use my finger guns and I will kill them all.
Pew, pew.
Yeah, pew, 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 pew. But it gets to like 5 o'clock. I mean, almost 5 o'clock on the nose. I hear a very light downstairs. Now I've got my side window open. I'm in the top floor. There's 3 rooms on the top floor. The one that's furthest forward is the child's room. Then it's my wife and I's bedroom, and then this little itty bitty room. It's like a 10 by 8, which we choose to call the office.
Yeah.
And that's where I am. And the window goes right outside to the sidewalk. Well, actually to the side of the house. And very ginger. And I'm like, oh fuck. So, you know, I'm in super speed mode. You know, I made Barry Allen look sick. Because it took me like a minute to get down the goddamn steps again. And I'm sitting there yelling as I'm going down the steps, I hear you. You know, like I was one of those adults that followed Lassie to the well so we could find Timmy. Good God. So I get to the door and we used a lot of tubs to do packing and unpacking when we came here. I don't like using like trash bags, and I certainly don't like using cardboard boxes. So I had a lot of tubs.
Yeah.
And we left the tubs out on the or we left the lids to the tubs out on the porches. I'll admit, that's one of my laziness. I never collected the tub lids and brought them back in. I've got the tubs stacked up inside, but anyway, he had succeeded taking this 30-pound CPU and knocking the tub lids all over the place. Then he's got my screen door propped open, and he's got the lip of the box sitting on the step going into the house. And he's looking at me like he's never lifted a weight in his life. He was probably like, a $140.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, here's your package. And I'm like, okay, great. And I go to get it, and I'm like, oh fuck, I'm not gonna be able to carry this. I mean, it's only 30 pounds, but there's no way that because of the cumbersome nature of it, I'm gonna be able to take it upstairs. And that's where actually the stepdaughter jumped in and said, I'll take it upstairs.
Oh, that's good.
So she grabbed it and brought it upstairs for me. I still haven't opened it yet. I know what it is because it says what it is on the side of the box. So I'm reassured by that. But I'm gonna wait until I actually have all the components to where I can actually run where I can run the whole PC. So the gears here, the rigs up and ready and running. I don't want to half-ass it. Besides, I'm so looking forward to using a keyboard where you don't have to press down hard on the E and the C key to get them to actually register while you're typing.
Well, it's because you overuse those two letters too much.
Well, yeah, I know, and I will overuse something. Because I'm from the old use it up, wear it out school.
Yeah.
My eldest brother, who was 4 years older than me, I used to get his freaking hand-me-downs, and he's 4 years older than me. So, I mean, literally, we would fold them up, put them in a drawer, and wait another couple of years before I could actually wear them. Although we had the practice, I don't know if you did this with your family, that my mom, for school shopping, the back to school, she would give us each, and normally it was like $20. She would give us a fixed amount of money and say, okay, all you guys got the same amount of money. You go buy your school clothes. And like my Irish twin sister would buy like a pair of Jordache jeans, and her money was gone. Because she had to have that popular shit. Me, I'd come back with a trash bag full of clothes. I'd go to the thrift store because, in the late 70s, early 80s, there was still quite a bit of stigma to thrift stores.
Yeah.
Because, only lesser class people go there, blah, 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 this and that. I never believed that because I had enough. I had $20, so I had enough to, stack it in. I mean, literally have a trash bag full of clothes and then be able, to stop off at the root beer stand and get a hot dog and a root beer. So I was all good with that. And it made me a trendsetter because long before grunge hit, I was wearing like, gas station shirts and bowling shirts, anything. To me, I was fascinated. Anything that had patches and a name tag on. I was just fascinated by it. So I'd wear, a pair of junky jeans, white t-shirt underneath. And I had one. It had dark blue epaulets. It was a white shirt. And then it had a patch on it that made it kind of look like it was for some peer security. Because it had like water in a building on it. So anytime somebody would ask me what it is, I don't know what the fuck it is, but I'm a writer. I'm creative. I used to say, oh yeah, man, this is an official Arizona Harbor Patrol shirt. And they went, Arizona? Arizona doesn't have any harbors. And I was like, now you know why we're so fucking tough.
Yeah. Muffin was saying, in her experience, what's written on the side of a box is rarely what's inside the box. And then, well, William, no, I am not missing the Crunch Stream. Uh, but thanks. And then he's just said Miss Doc Griffin dreams of duct tape and ball gags.
I don't know if I necessarily dream of them. I
No,
know
I
that's
think he's saying the missus does.
Oh, I was gonna say because I've already crossed that stuff off my list. One of these days we could probably get into the perversity list, but yeah, there's only like 3 things left on that bad boy. So, uh,
But when it comes
now
to
Muffin.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go. Address Muffin.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that nowadays the technology has gotten so advanced with tubs. They have the ones now where there's a spot on the actual tub that's dry erase, and you can actually use a dry erase marker and mark what's in the tub. But the thing's only probably about a 6x4 spot on it, and it's on the side of the tub where the handle is. So if you're not careful, you rub up against it, and all that good work is just completely washed away. But technology is trying to advance with us.
Ooh, right over someone's head. Yes, I do, William. You tried though. When you were talking about the thrift store thing, right? And going back to school shopping and all that jazz. We never had that. Like what it was they would just take my big sister, who also is 4 years older than me, and take her shopping, and then me and my baby sister, well, I would get my big sister's old clothes, and my baby sister would get uh my old clothes, which were still my big sister's old clothes. So it was just, oh hey, I thought I saw you wearing that same outfit last year. Nope, that was my sister's.
Oh yeah, and I don't know if you ever felt the stigma as well. I think that's why I think that's why mom gave all of us kids like $20 because she knew that there was going to be shit passed down that people would recognize.
Mm-hmm.
And here's $20. Put a little flourish or a little individuality to it. And good morning, John Doe.
Morning, John Doe.
But
Well, my family, it wasn't until I'd gotten into high school that I was able to get any of my own kind of clothes, and that was because I had my own job, you know? And so like the money that I would use from my job, I'd be like, all right, I don't have to wear my sister's hand-me-downs or anything like that anymore. I can just go ahead and get my own clothes and it'll be fine. Um,
well, yeah, because my mom always encouraged us to well get the fuck out of the house, and if that meant we'd be gone from the house so she could have some peace and quiet. Then yeah, we had jobs. I started mowing grass when I was like 11 years old. And that's like back then it was like $5 for a half-acre lawn, but
yeah.
we'd make a little money. Oh, good morning, Metaphorist. Um, and you know, it, we she gave us the ability though anyway, because she had just gotten into the role of, well, here's your $20, and she worked hard to make sure that all of us had that $20 to work with. But my sister being the cheerleader type, she always had fashion on mind. So I mean, she would legitimately only come back with one thing after shopping. And then
Yeah,
I
my baby sister was the same way when she started like getting herself an allowance. She was the same way. She was a fashionable one, and I was the one who like I had a class where I learned how to sew, you know.
Yeah.
And so like I would hand stitch like patches onto all of my holy clothes and stuff like that just to keep them lasting longer and lasting longer. And she would just go and buy herself, spend all of her money on new clothes. And then my big sister is the same way actually. Like she was really bad about it, but she did not have the same kind of fashion sense. And then me, I'd wear like hand me downs. My friends would give me their own clothes, and since because they'd be like, oh, this shirt would look cool on you. I'm like, all right, I'll take it. Like, fuck it. Like, I don't care that you're 6'2" and like pushing 300 pounds, and I'm only like 5'8". Well, what back in high school I was 5'8". I'm 5'5" now, but I'm only 5'8" and 130 pounds of muscle. Like, fuck it, I'll take it. Like, I got belts, and if I don't have belts, I know I have rope. Like, I'll tie this shit on. Like, I don't care. Like, the shirt's big enough, it'll cover the fact that I don't have an actual belt on. Like, it was dumb.
Yeah, I can make this shit work.
Yeah. Hi,
Um,
adamantine.
a very good morning to you, Addie.
What
And yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the shit out of doing that kind of stuff. But God, yeah, I mean, I could understand, and you can call, but it was much more difficult for the female siblings than it was for the male.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
I got dubbed hobo chic because like
oh,
I looked like I dressed like a hobo because I always wore clothes that didn't quite fit me or were too always they were too baggy, and like they were patched up to all get out because cause, like I'll just keep wearing the same shit until like there's no fixing it anymore.
yeah, and for those people out there that are very young, because apparently I looked at my what do you call it, analytics, and the most of the people who listen or watch are between 25 to 35.
Hmm.
Well, kids back then, we used to have iron-on patches, and they weren't iron-on patches, so you could look cool. You can get away, like if you had a military jacket. Back then people didn't give much of a shit if you still had insignia, as long as you didn't have rank on the jacket or on the shirt. People didn't really give a fuck. But um, yeah, there was these things called iron-on patches that we used to cover up the big ass holes in the hand-me-downs that people would send us, or the rips. See, because yeah, rips in the knees of a jean is nothing new. We had that a long, long time ago, but we would take patches and put them on there. That almost, it's so funny because sometimes they'd almost look like fucking knee pads. But
Yeah.
you always want to have um you always want to have patches that were big enough to cover the rips. And some of them were bad. Like I remember I had a glow in the dark one, where there's a picture of Dracula spreading his cape uh,
Oh,
to
nice.
to make it look longer.
Hmm.
But of course, it was done cartoonishly, and it just said, "I want to suck your blood" on it. And that fucking patch was embarrassing as piss, but it kept the pants together.
You know
It
what'd
it
be better is if you had that patch on the crotch of your pants.
Yeah, but how would I get to my zipper then?
No, no, no. I mean like right in between the legs. So like when you're sitting down, that's the only time people could see it.
I did not have that much flourish. I mean, I knew how to work an iron, and that was about it. And I really hated the iron on ones instead of the sew on ones. But my mom would not let me anywhere near her sewing machine,
Oh, see,
because
me,
that,
I never learned how to use a sewing machine. I only learned how to hand stitch.
well, that was her toy. Um, that was the thing that she'd like to do. I mean, she became a very good seamstress, Because you're doing all the hand-me-downs. You change the hem on the pants, definitely. Um,
I,
or sew something up. I mean, I used to have a work shirt that it was initially my dad's when he owned a refrigeration company, and I just would not let go of the thing. And she called it my Frankenstein shirt because every time that it would rip, she would sew it up. So I mean, the shirt had more scars than I did at the time.
I actually, my mom used to take like old pieces of clothing or whatever, that were too torn up and stuff like that, and she would make us like new quote unquote outfits out of them, and it would look awesome. Um, Mind you, definitely stitched together, but definitely hand me down. Like if this blue kind of matched that blue, like that's fine. Like she would just try and Frankenstein the fuck out of it.
Well, yeah, and now that I know this became a tangent thing, but one of the reasons why I like to go to food pantry is that when the seasons change, they want to get rid of inventory in their I guess you would call them their ghetto clothing boutiques.
Mm-hmm.
So they can bring out more of now the fall and winter clothes. So you pay $1, you get a trash bag that you can fill up. You can put as many clothes as you want into it, or as many that will fit. And I mean, I am legitimately folding everything. I'm not just grabbing and jamming it down in there. I'm folding it up and stacking shit on top of shit. And I mean, it's so heavy at the end of it that I can't even carry it. I have to have help. Um, or wifey, because she's got some strength to her now still. Um, but yeah, I mean, she's sitting there looking at me. I'm flying around like a Tasmanian devil, going, "Oh yeah, I can use this. I can use this." Every pair of socks that are matched, I grab them. The only thing I still kind of stay away with from is the underwear section, because it's usually some old dead guy's tidy whities.
Yeah.
And yeah, never been a fan. Um, but yeah, I mean, I take undershirts, long sleeve shirts. What's funny is you rarely ever see A-frame shirts, wife beaters. You
Mm-hmm.
you rarely see those in a ghetto thrift store, because I don't know if people are buried with them or what, but I mean, you just can't find them. Those are one of my favorite undershirts. But I just don't have the money to go out and buy what is it, like a 6-pack of A-frame shirts for like $16. I'm like, nah, that's just not happening. Mm. But yeah, that's why this. If you haven't gone out and seen and it's on YouTube, so you can see it. It's the original mockumentary. It was made in 1978 by Eric Idle, who is one of the members of Monty Python. And he was also friends with Lorne Michaels, who was the guy who helped create Saturday Night Live.
Morning, Joshua.
And he created a fake documentary about a band that was completely modeled on the Beatles. They called them the prefab for the Ruddles. And good morning, Joshua, as well. It's on the YouTubes, and I would suggest to look it up. It's once again, it's British humor, so it is going to be dry, especially since they're all. This is Eric Idle, just post Monty Python,
Yeah.
and before they got into cranking out more movies. God damn, I got cottonmouth something. No,
No.
I hate having cottonmouth unless I've earned it. And I have not earned it, which is sadness. By the way, I wanted to leave it up into your hands, Kadant,
Uh-oh.
because I'm always calling shots and bringing people in.
I don't
Um,
mind.
I will pass the keys over to you if there's somebody that you'd like to bring in. I know I've heard Muffin talk once or twice, but I've never actually talked to her.
No, yeah,
But
she's probably in bed now, which is why I haven't seen much action from her in the chat because
oh,
she's got to be up at 7 in the morning and she gets almost normal people hours of sleep.
so she is off in Nappy Land where the good people dwell.
Somewhere, possibly, hopefully. She hadn't been getting good sleep for a while, but she's starting to, I think. I hope so.
And and Addie, I know sometimes it may seem that you know going with recycled clothing is a bad thing, but not when you're poor.
Hey, that's what washing them is for.
Yeah, yeah, they made washers and dryers, and I've been reading up on it. So in case any bugs of an unknown origin come into my house, I know how to kill them. And 9 times out of 10, it's usually make sure your dryer runs uh, hot and long, and that'll take care of any critter that might think to sneak in.
I mean,
Although, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I mean, like we, I never had an issue with like the recycled clothes, mostly because it was basically recycled from my family.
And they like there's an actual facility in our town for the Salvation Army that the only thing they do is check in clothes and do the wash dry on it. You can tell because it smells like that industrial soap,
Ooh.
and there definitely ain't no dryer sheets thrown in. But yeah, it's yeah. I guess it is an acquired taste. I mean, it's it's always the sometimes you just got to make do.
Hmm.
And yeah, I honestly had a lot of trouble with doing food pantry. And wifey's option was to go with food stamps, and we're both opposed to each other's. So I don't really like food stamps because back in the day, I remember the embarrassment of my mom having to whip out that little coupon book that had the food stamps in them.
Yeah.
Whereas you got an EBT card now to make it look less suspicious and less ghetto. And I don't have any problems with food pantry because these are people, you know, giving you staples, shit that you probably need, but she doesn't like it. Uh, she doesn't like the showing up and the hauling away. I think it's also probably because she just doesn't like the non-control to where you don't technically get to pick what you want. They just load up grocery sacks and hand them off to you. And what the hell is going on? Bear with me here a second.
1,000.
Oh, I think now I may be a retard, but I didn't even bring the CPU into the office where my computer is, because I'm like, oh no, the last thing I want is for the computer that I'm on right now to see that other one without without a keyboard, without a mouse, without any of the peripherals, because then it's just gonna up and die
Yeah.
just for spite. It's gonna die on me. So it's sitting out in the hallway, still boxed, and my computer is fucking with me right now. I only have 3 tabs up. And it's still giving me shit. Come on. Yeah, I was going to stream last night. I didn't even bother checking. I was doing something else. I think I was watching a movie again. I was watching not All You Need Is Cash. That's what I listened to today. But I was listening to something that worked independently of the computer. I had just plugged in a DVD of The Deadliest Warrior. I don't know if you ever saw it. It ran for 2 seasons on Spike, and what it was just a big what if. Like literally, it would take warlords from specific times and pit them against each other. It got to the point where they actually did bring in a couple of actual names. Like they had William Wallace versus Shaka Zulu. But normally it was like Apache versus Gladiator, Viking versus Samurai, Spartan versus Ninja, Pirate versus Knight, Yazuka versus Mafia, Green Berets versus Spetsnaz. And, it goes on from there. And this is real, like geeky, boner inspiring, people who love the war kind of stuff. But they would go through with the weapons of the time. And then at the very end of it, they had a fight choreographed. They literally had a supercomputer. Well, back then it was a quote unquote supercomputer. It went through 1,000 fights with all the variables. And then after the 1,000 fights, it rendered the verdict of who actually won the fight. But instead of just telling you who won the fight, they would choreograph a fight. And the fight was about maybe about 5 or 8 minutes long. And you'd see, the Viking versus the barbarian, and see how they use their weapons, and then they'd show who won, and then they'd go back and say, well, this is how we got the results, and this is how many battles this guy won, this is how many battles that this guy won. Very, very geek, very geek. And so that's what I was watching. Well, I didn't notice it got around to about 1:30, and I'm like, okay, might as well start setting up because I'm going to do a little streaming tonight. Started to set up and noticed that little yellow triangle was down there over my internet connection. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? I look at the modem and online is gone. And if online is gone, that also means that your cable is shut off.
Yep.
No soup for you. So there's nothing I could do about it. I didn't have the money for it. But stepchild said that once she got her check from college, that she would take care of the internet for the next couple of months. Well, I knew she had gotten it, but she's already packed away sleeping. So I'm like, all right, fuck it. Guess I'm going to bed early. And so, yeah, that's what. Oh, come on. No. Fuck you, Windows. You are not closing down the computer to install updates. You can suck my half-century-old cock. You're not going to do
that. Everything good, Doc?
Yeah, I got him. I got it taken care of. It's like, oh, well, we're going to restart your computer in 5 minutes. The fuck you are. The moment you do that, guess what's going to happen? I'm either going to get B-sodded or it's going to check for disk errors. So, yeah. That's not happening. I'm like, why don't you catch back up with me in 4 hours? Because I won't be here. John Doe, I don't technically have to put it together, but I do in the it's Boomer putting it together, where I have to I had to put the new keyboard up and assemble the new mouse, and basically just I don't want to start it up until I have all the peripherals with it.
Mm.
Um, so that's kind of what I'm waiting on. If I had to put it together, uh, it would look like two blind men trying to put together an IKEA piece of furniture. It just it would not end well. It simply just would not. Yes, Metaforce, I do believe that it might be because there's you you can see the corner of the box that's in the hallway, just peeking out, just around the door. So, and the reason why I didn't open up the box is because I figure that inanimate object logic is just like cat logic. That if it's in the box, they don't know what it is, and they don't care what it is. I mean, they might go to try to figure out what's in the box, but as far as knowing what it is or being able to read the English language on the side of the box where it, has the computer set up, or figure out pictograms, I think I'm pretty much ahead of the game. So, so yeah, I mean, I guess this is a long way to go about it, but yeah, if you have someone that you would like to invite into the show, please feel free and do so.
Yeah, no worries. Well, let's see who's even on right now. Anybody who's in the chat who wants to join, because generally, I think we have a mostly good and drama-free chat.
Yeah, we'll not have an Aussie row again.
Yeah.
We had him on once, and Lord Byron is always welcome because he's civil until apparently other Bogons show up.
Mm-hmm.
I at least got to learn a word.
Well,
A
learning is
bogan.
always good.
Oh.
Okay.
I had an itch on my side, and apparently I think I went a little bit too aggressively at it, and I think I pulled a rib muscle.
Oh, don't do that.
Hey, it's not good to sneeze either.
Bless you, God.
Oh, that was more uncomfortable than it should have been.
Well, don't do that.
God, I'm telling you what, it's definitely the body's calling out because it's a change of seasons, and I live in a place that has deciduous trees, and that usually kicks up pollen more than any other place. So pardon me, I'm blowing my nose as well.
No, I mean, how dare you, Doc? How dare you have trees that cause your nose to go a little nuts?
Well, and it's funny too because it's about I'd say probably about 68 degrees outside, and I got a nice breeze blowing through because the office is at the end of the second story, so I have windows on two sides. Now, granted, there are no screens because this is the ghetto, and apparently in the at the turn of the century, the early 1900s, because this house was finished in like 1903. Apparently, the rule of law back then was, well, if it's hot, open a window. Whatever comes in, deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's cold, shut the damn window. That's pretty much the mechanics that they had back then. I know when we first moved in here, I moved from a place that was getting completely renovated, and so I was like, "What are you guys going to do with those screens?" And they're like, "Oh well, we're not going to do much of anything with them." And I was like, "Cool, can I take them?" And they're like, "Yeah." So I took like a half dozen screens with me. Because we had taken a look at where we were moving into and recognized the fact that there was only one window that had a screen. But the people who lived here before us were meth heads. And they meticulously spent the time cutting out little squares from the screens so they could fill their pipes. So,
Well, all right.
yeah, so we had no screen. But so before I set anything up, and this was, I have forgotten that cats are stupid and they'll do stupid things.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't put the screens up in the bathroom window, nor did I put them up in the office window. So I'm sitting here at an early morning at the computer trying to write, and all of a sudden something passes the window in the office. I thought I saw something out of my corner of my eye, and I looked and I didn't see anything. Went back to what I was doing, and then I saw it again. So I got up immediately and went to the window and took a look, and that something was the black cat's tail going back and forth. Black cat was on the roof, just
Oh,
walking back and forth. And I'm like, oh my God, first and foremost, the cat's still kind of in kitten territory. So if it goes, it missteps on a vaulted roof, it's going to go down and drop 2 stories.
yeah.
Number two is uh, this neighborhood has psychotic squirrels. So they would probably show up and fuck up that cat just for being in their turf. So I got to figure a way to get the cat back. So I go to the bathroom where obviously that's where the cat came in because the cat stayed far enough away from the office window. So I go to the bathroom window, and of course that's where we have their food bowls is in the bathroom, and we have their um, happy-go-lucky litter box.
Yeah.
And so I just start shaking the bag of cat food. And the cat just comes bounding up and boom, jumps right through the window. And I was like, fucker. And the cat just looks at me like, what? So I had to figure out a way to get those screens in place and intact to where they wouldn't be able to nose them open because the screens certainly did not fit. I mean, this house was made, of course, in the early 1900s. The screens that I had were probably made in the 50s.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not gonna work.
No, not quite. I mean, especially if your cats are gonna go outside where there's a bunch of like psychotic, possibly meth addicted squirrels, considering that, the previous owners were meth heads. Um, and your cats have already proven that they can't do shit against a mouse.
Well, they can eat mice. I mean, they had that nice run for a little bit, but yeah, as far as it goes, they are not kings of the mighty ghetto, or I'm sorry, queens,
Hmm.
because they are both female. But I mean, they do provide some enjoyment. Those little bastards can be funny at times. But my wife, oh, those people that you don't talk to until they've had at least one cup of coffee?
Me?
That is my wife. She gotta have she gotta have her energy drink before she even starts to understand the English language.
Yeah,
Because
no,
I'll already be up. I'll be like, hey baby, this and this happened and blah blah blah. And she'll just kind of look at me
hmm,
and just shake her head no. And I have to wait for her to get her energy drink infused in her, have her get her cigarette smoked, and then I can lead into some soft conversation.
yep, that sounds like me. I've actually I one time I it was either one of my roommates or it was my sister, one of my sisters, but they came over to me like it was first thing in the morning and they start trying to talk to me and I just finished like making my cup of coffee and I just held a finger up and slowly sipped my coffee as I kept my other finger held up. And then
So
like when I drained that cup of coffee, then I put my finger down. I'm like, okay, continue.
so you archered them.
Yes, yes, I did. I definitely did.
Yeah, I do the archer with liquor. If
Uh,
I
I
if I know there's bullshit coming, I'm like, hold on.
oh yeah, I've done that before. What's it? In I had gotten into a fight, um, and I was drinking. It was either a margarita or a daiquiri, one of the two things, and either of them were made with tequila. I forget. But somebody came over to me and they're just like, so we need to talk. And I'm just like, mm. Held my finger up and I archered them and I downed my drink. And then I put the glass down and I'm like, okay, continue. And started going off on me about some stupid bullshit. I don't even fucking remember. And then I decked him.
Well,
Like I was just like, oh, right, right, yeah, and then fist went into to faces because yeah.
because it had to.
Well, I was a very very violent person when I was younger. This was probably only about like 10 years ago though.
Yeah, back in the days when I knew I could still take damage. I was dumb enough to be like, all right, fuck it, we're going.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm older, wiser, and more fragile, I
Diplomacy is the way to go.
yeah, hey man, let me just buy you a beer. Let's talk about this. And if that doesn't work, then I guess got to step back and whittle off a little more of that quality time that I wanted to spend doing something that I wanted to do instead of having to beat up or get beat up. Because
Danger zone.
I have, I literally have no compunction by saying I've won as many fights as I've lost.
Mm.
Um, but I always learn something from it. Learn not to fight those motherfuckers who beat me up. Uh, now I don't know if anybody's actually gone back and done some reading for the classical heroes. Um, but if you ever read the tales of Robin Hood, you will find out that Robin Hood, steal from the rich, give to the poor, but he was a douchebag. Here's how he formed his gang. Anybody that he could beat, he killed. Flat out killed. Anybody who he couldn't beat became part of his gang. So like Friar Tuck and Will Scarlet and Little John, he couldn't beat. He could not best in combat, so he offered him a spot in his gang of merry men. But anybody who even fought him well but still lost, he just fucking kill him. So there's your hero.
Well, I mean, it's not about that's not I'm okay. That isn't a bad way to form your group of ruffians. Um, but but it's a bad way to try and like to form a group of which you expect to lead, because going back to like more barbaric times, the strongest was the leader, the best fighter was the leader, and he obviously was not the strongest or best fighter out of his group of merry men.
That's true. But you would think that, well, let's just say that the three guys that I mentioned got tired of his bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
They could have fucking taken him out at any time. So let's be like, hi, I'm the new leader. And you are dead, Robin of Locksley. I mean, it's not like he had a line on the best Swede or anything. That was his saving grace. Or that, he got discounts at the local livery. So he was I mean, I guess he was being strategic, but pulling in all the people who can kick your ass is eventually going to get your ass kicked later. Because
Well,
if he's like, what I say goes, it's like Nibba, don't you know that we beat you up, all three of us?
well, that's a good way of keeping yourself in check. Is if you surround yourself with people who could kick your ass, you're hopefully more like intelligent enough to keep your ass in check. And if not, then guess what? There's all these people who could, you know, beat the ever loving fuck out of you and keep you in check. But if
Yeah,
any of them were like power hungry enough, then, bad move, like bad form, dude.
yeah. I mean, because it's not like these guys were lazy. I mean, they were running around in the forest too, just surviving.
Mm-hmm.
Although the whole thing about there's some debate whether or not the whole thing was started over the fact that Locksley um, was actually stripped of his title because he hunted the king's deer.
Yeah.
There's every indication to hint that Robin was a dick, that the real one was a dick through and through. And so, they were like, we're tired of your shit. And this is back in the day where, you didn't need to go through a 4-step appeal process. It's like, we don't like you anymore. We're the rulers. Bye. And they kick you out. But apparently he was supposed to be a good archer, but there was an actual archer that was better than him, and I can't remember who it was. But literally everything that he needed, like he got there was a better bow staff fighter, there was a better wrestler, there was a better swordsman, and there was a better bowyer. So I mean, I guess he's like middle management, that he was just kind of good at organizing people.
He was the ideas man.
Yeah. I mean, he would go up and fight, but like at the time he'd get his ass kicked. And if I was part of his merry men and he beat some guy who was really good and killed him, I'd be like, you know what? I think I need to find a new place of employment. Because
No.
what if I don't cook the deer carcass as good as I think I can? Then he's gonna whack me too. Very very 70s mob.
Well, no, at that point, because you could beat him, then you would just, you beat the ever loving fuck out of him.
Well, I guess he would walk up to people and go, "Hey, you did a pretty shitty job on that, but I didn't kill you. So hang around, try again."
Yeah, you didn't kill me because you couldn't, you weak ass little fucking pansy motherfucking bitch.
Step up to the pump. It's full service.
Oh God.
That used to be one of my buddy's favorite lines before he'd get into a fight. He's like, "You
Step
see,"
up to the pump.
he would do that. "You see a line here, motherfucker? Step up. This pump's full service."
Oh
And
God.
he could pretty much back his shit up too. So I we just kind of let him be. You know, there's kind of people where they get like real riled up and they want to fight and shit. But if you make fun of them enough, they'll shut the fuck up and go back to their beer.
Mm-hmm.
Now there are some that you should never do that to, but you never know until you get to that point. So
Yeah.
you mark that down for later. Okay, this guy, he still gets pissed off. We can't back him down that way. And we definitely don't want to put him through an ass beating or suffer said ass beating. So yeah, we'll use a different tactic next time. Mm. So I did get through most of the drama today. It was kind of nice because I was in the morning decay chat and they took my wrench. I had no idea why they took my wrench. They did a wrench purge. Um, I talked to Optic and I said, not for nothing, dude, but you know, I was one of the first people to watch your show even before it became um uh even before it became what it was, because I I found him broadcasting and doing art in like the middle of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Um and it wasn't, it was like drawing with Optic or something like that. But I was there for the first show with Morning Decay. Matter of fact, I was just a little BTS. I was like, well, if there's any issue, Broski isn't able to make it, I'll be up for the first. I'll be around for the first few shows. So if you need somebody to fill in, I'd be happy to help. I like your show. I like what you do. They didn't need me, which is cool. But I did get a chance to listen to them, and they do make a very good couple. At first, here's the thing. You know if something's going to work right off the bat, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of those. It's not a feeling out process. Both of them dove in feet first, and I still think that they have a really good show. So I in the chat, I was like, oh, so I'm wrenchless again. Okay, whatever. Don't care. People in the chat were like, hey, give Doc his wrench back. Doc needs a wrench. He's got to have a wrench. I was like, no, I don't really need a wrench. I can't fix anything with it. And there are other people in Morning Decay's chat who are just on the ball when it comes to assholes, and they will just club the shit out of them with their wrenches. So I mean, me having a wrench is kind of like at the end of Star Wars where they give them medals, which the medals don't mean dick, but it's nice to have. And of course, what was it I think they did this in the reissue where they added all the CGI that they should have just not added. The one thing that they didn't do, because they didn't give Chewbacca a medal. So that's a total dick move. I thought they would have at least, like when it got to the ceremony scene, at least CGI'd a medal on him.
I could have sworn that he did though.
Not for the original that he didn't, but okay, let's go to the books and see. I know. It's going to take you a minute to pull it up. A minute in dog years. Okay. Chewbacca medal. I didn't see them actually
See, because
give him.
I thought Chewbacca had to lean down. for Leia to give him the medal, and then she gave him like a little kiss on his fuzzy little cheek.
Well, she gave him the medal in Star Wars, and they did. I mean, I got a picture of it right here where Chewie is without medal. Here, wait a minute. I'll just post it to the twatters.
Hello, exiled Luang.
Yeah, because, apparently I need to get my tweet count up for no reason whatsoever. Okay. And somebody actually went through the difficulty of just apparently using paint and putting arrows in, pointing out the medals. But yeah, you would think if he was going back CGI and all that shit, that he would have CGI'd a medal on Chewie. That you didn't necessarily have to see Princess Leia put it on him. Now I know they did some, I don't know if it was Hugo Awards or what was it, but years down the road, they actually had Carrie Fisher announcing something, and Peter Mayhew came out in the Chewie costume, and she put the medal on him. So, I guess he got his like decades later. And if you remember the scene when they all turn and they've been metalized, and the crowd starts cheering, the Chewie's like, oh, and that probably means, where's my fucking medal, bitch?
Okay, adamantine. No, it's not pinning a medal though. It was little necklace medals that were put over their heads. Now I gotta go rewatch the fucking trilogy again. Because I can't just, look at the ending. That'd be wrong. I have to watch the whole thing.
Yeah, the one where somebody put up a gif showing uh uh Luke, Han, and Chewie walking up to the podium, and Chewie's thinking, Chewie's got a thought bubble that says, "My medal is going to be awesome." Didn't happen, brother. Sorry. But yeah, you think that would be one thing that fucking Lucas would have taken care of, because he's spending all these gazillions of dollars fucking with shit that he shouldn't have been messing with in the first place. When, I don't know if you remember when they reissued the new bells and whistles version, his I'm satisfied with it right now until 20 minutes later when I want to change something else. But they came out with a dual disc set, and you got the updated version, and then you got the original theatrical version of all three movies. And like a complete and total dork, I would watch them back to back. I'd watch the theatrical of Star Wars, then I'd watch the updated version of Star Wars. Then I'd watch the theatrical version of Empire, then watch the updated version. And really, besides the cleanup, all the additional shit was just not really worth it, because it was kind of cool. They left the Star Wars one intact to where it was Han who shot first. And I'm like, that's what kind of made him a badass. Is that he knew what the situation was. He knew what was going to happen, and he anticipated and took care of business.
One of the trick questions that people have tried to ask me before is, so you who shot first? And I'm like, um, there's no one. Han was the only one who shot.
And Exile, there's your wrench. Good
Yeah.
morning. Um, Actually, there's three answers to that.
Hi, numbskull.
And good morning, Numbskull.
There's no
There's
such thing as three answers.
there are three answers to that one question.
No.
In the original, Han shot first.
No,
Now,
Han was the only one who shot. There was no shot from Guido at all in the original.
well, he had his gun out and he was going to shoot. Greedo was going to shoot his ass, but Han shot him. Then the other version is they flipped it and had Greedo shoot and then Han shoot him. And the third version is that they almost shot simultaneously. So it's been doctored and dicked around with enough. I mean, to me, that's what kind of made Han a badass. Was it's like, yeah, he understood what was coming down the pike and he took care of the business. And plus, Greedo's a douchebag.
Han Solo is a douchebag.
Oh, he's a lovable pirate.
No, 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 no. See, that's one of the things like where people are always like, "Oh, unpopular opinion, blah blah blah." My biggest and most unpopular opinion is that Han Solo is a douchebag, and 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 he is my least favorite character. And I almost got me and my friend, Residential Dragon. I almost got us beat up in the theater when we went and watched Force Awakens because have you seen it?
Oh, Force Awakens? Uh,
Hmm.
God, yeah, I've seen them all.
Okay. I laughed when Han Solo got stabbed in his stupid fucking stomach. And you can hear like there was the initial gasp from the theater, and then you can hear uh the heads all turning towards my direction because of course I like to sit in the very back of the theater, and I'm laughing really bad, and you could hear, and she's leaning away from me, and she's like, I am not with her. Like, y'all nerds can have your nerd rage against her all you want. But I was ecstatic because I'm just like, finally, he's dead. Thank you.
Okay, well, now I'm gonna ask to verify why you feel this way.
I don't, it's only grown stronger as I've gotten older, but every single time it was just like there was nothing really redeemable, even when he came back, like to fight with. It was still like with such reluctance. It's so troublesome for him, and he didn't really want it. And like, you know, he was like, I'll do it for the money or whatever. Like it doesn't matter. Like whatever. I guess I'll do it for the money. And I don't really want to do any of this stuff, but I guess I'm gonna because and I'm just like, ugh, you're so ugh. And and one of the fun facts that I like to point out is he wasn't supposed to he wasn't supposed to survive, but you know people spooged all over themselves when they're like, oh my god, he's such a rebel and a badass, I don't want to be like him. And it's like, no, why can't you be like somebody, I don't know, worthwhile, instead of that douchebag?
Okay, well, now what about in Return of the Jedi? He volunteers for the most dangerous mission, and he
But
doesn't get paid for it.
but even though he volunteered, it it wasn't necessarily like he's like, fine, I guess I'll do it. Like it was still with like such douchebaggy reluctance, and then he'd be like, you owe me, you know? And it's like, but you fucking volunteered, you little fuckhead. Like, come on. And then
Well,
of course Chewie, I love Chewie because Chewie would just, you know, Han, stop being a douchebag. Do
yeah,
something worthwhile.
you
Don't
know,
be such a little bitch about it.
I will be honest. I believe that is a relationship of unrequited love.
Yeah, I concur with that.
I think maybe Han got a little too drunk once and got a little too frisky.
And bumped fuzzies.
Yep. And took old Chewie home, and now Chewie's living off of that one night where he's thinking that it might happen again, and of course it never does. Well, we really don't know because there's a jump in time from the original trilogy and then the follow up of this crap fest that we're watching. Because and I don't know if you disagree with me on this, I don't think there's any way of saving the Star Wars franchise from crashing and burning in the third episode. Unless they do like a Dallas sequence where, that whole last movie was just a dream.
Yeah.
Because they really, if they were playing it smart, if they would have done it right, they kill off the three characters. As a writer, you want to plot this shit out. If you're going to kill off the three major characters, you kill them off, you give them a good death. Okay, they killed Han off, and he was more of a sacrificial lamb. The next one to go should have been Princess Leia. She should have been the one that warped into the Star Destroyer. She should have done that ultimate sacrifice and then left Laura Dern and her purple hair to take care of the rest of the business. That's a
Well,
hero's death. That's a great death. They should
yeah.
have held Luke until the very end, because then it's the end of the trilogy. It's the last real Jedi, and okay, we're handing it over. I think they mishandled the triumvirate. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing is they first off like what's it I believe what's his name? J.J. Abrams.
Yeah.
Wait. Yeah. He'd had an outline that he had pretty much tried to pass to Rian Johnson, who tossed it out the window and went and jerked off himself all over the Last Jedi movie. And
Well, that's
none of the executive stepped in and said, "Wait, but why you don't don't do that? Like we're going to try and, calm your shit down and get you to follow. Like you can do it your own way, but we want you to be able to follow like this kind of story in this way instead of just like, dropping trowel and shitting all over it." And that's what he did because I don't think it was his own idea and interpretation of Star Wars, but it wasn't.
Well, and I'll get a little deeper than this in just a minute, but we have Kathleen Kennedy to blame for that, because she told Rian Johnson to make it his own and to come up with his own script, and he came back to her with that script and she approved, and they
I don't
went
think she
on.
read it.
Well, she had to have, because she made the offhand comment about how the women in this movie are very strong, which is kind of a lie. They just made all the men fucking idiots.
No, no, no. They didn't even make all the men idiots. They made some of the women idiots too in their own fucking ways. Like, no, these women aren't all strong. Like the only one who can be considered, because what's it one of my biggest issues with the movie, and I'm one of the few people who liked Last Jedi, and people get mad at me for it because I hated Rogue One. I thought Rogue One was insulting as fuck. But um I actually enjoyed myself in Last Jedi, and I enjoyed certain moments. Mind you, I can still tear that movie apart like nobody's business. But one of my biggest problems is that lack of communication was the key point of of issue in the entirety of the movie. There was just a major lack of communication amongst some of the amongst many of the people, where it's just like if they just opened their mouths and fucking talked, then there wouldn't have been all of these fucking problems going on, you
And
know?
good
Like that's
morning, Alucard.
oh hey Alucard. But that's one of my biggest like points of contention with the movie is like all of these like you, the whole plot the whole drama in the plot, the whole points of
Well,
conflict, the whole points of conflict revolve around lack of communication. And it just go
well,
fuck yourselves like you idiots. God damn it.
well, two things. First of all, when Kathleen Kennedy and her gaggle showed up and they were wearing shirts that said the force is female, you knew things were going to go wrong. And Mark Hamill many times had discussions with Rian Johnson and even Kathleen Kennedy where he was told to shut up and just go along with it. And because Mark Hamill was like, listen, I'm a geek. I understand this. This is not what this character would do. I know I'm the only guy who's ever played him. I'm not looking to upstage or get more lines, but this makes no sense. This makes no sense to the character that's been established for like 3 other movies. And both Kathleen Kennedy and Rian Johnson shot him down. They told him, shut the fuck up. You're getting paid. And now he's starting to come out being a little more revealing in basically how they fucking hamstringed him. I won't say that they cucked him because he still kept fighting back, but they sure as hell hobbled him. And you can tell in his performance, anytime he's doing something that's against Luke's character, that it looks like Mark Hamill not wanting to do the scene. So yeah, he tried, but he got bitch slapped. And Rian Johnson running in and pulling that bullshit with, oh well, you think this is going to happen? Well, it's not. This is going to happen. And I'm like, are you fucking serious? The one thing that really pissed me off is the light speed maneuver. If they knew that would have worked, they should have done the sacrifice at the very beginning of the chase. Turned one of them motherfuckers around and just ran into the lead ship and just wiped some motherfuckers out, because then without a head, the snake dies, or is at least really fucking confused and twitches around.
Yeah.
It was a very poor, because I'm a writer. It was a very poorly written script. That whole bullshit with Rose Tico and whatever that stormtrooper was, John, what's his name? Dumb,
John Bottega.
Yeah, dumb, stupid side plot that literally meant nothing. And the whole turn with Benicio del Toro, it's like, yeah, of course he's a bad guy. You guys are going to trust him to be, the pirate with a heart of gold, like Han. The way that Rian Johnson's script's been dicking over everybody throughout this show, no. He's going to be a bad guy. Bad shit's going to happen. And I thought there would at least be some type of resolution, but there wasn't. And the only female that they really made look like a dumbass was Phasma. Because they kicked her ass right quick and proper twice in 2 different movies. I guess they were trying to play off the old Boba Fett joke from Return of or no Empire. No,
Um,
Return of the Jedi, where they're going to
no,
feed him into the
was it
Sarlacc pit.
Return?
Huh?
Was it? Yeah, never mind. Yeah, you're right. It was. I thought it was no. I thought it was Empire Strikes Back.
No, because he got frozen in the he got frozen in the carbonite
Oh,
in
right, right.
Empire, and he got thawed out in Return.
Okay, yeah, yeah. He wasn't supposed to have been thought out. I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
which led to the line, Boba Fett, where? And he accidentally hits him.
Hmm.
William, I prefer not to share that information because if somebody wants to dox me, they can figure that out and then they can find my books.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I'm not handing it up to easiness. Go find it, buy it, and figure out whether or not I'm a good writer.
and William, I'm not a big fan of um the Notebook anyway. Even if Anti said go ahead and watch a movie and have some wine with you, but Anti wouldn't because I'm his.
Aw, for
I know.
for
Shut up.
for now,
For now. Yeah, that's
you got to always put in the to be continued.
you gotta leave it with the cliffhanger, you know? One always needs the cliffhanger.
Yeah, and can we just not talk about Leia in space?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Leia in
Nope,
space.
nope. I have no idea what you're talking about. We're not talking about what I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just saying.
And yeah, Rogue One. I thought they were going to build up because we already know what the end of Rogue One is.
Oh, you mean how they retconned it?
Well, yeah. I mean,
Mm. I
they
found the entirety of Rogue One because Star Wars for me was always a well written story, a very good character development story, even with douchebag McFuckface Han Solo. Like it was all there was some form of development with each of these characters, and we got to follow along and get to know them, and they were likable to some degree, even if they were kind of annoying to us to some degree. They were still likable. With Rogue One, um the two, especially the two leading characters, because there were only two leading characters, uh they were both, fuck them both. I was glad they died. I'm just like, oh, thank God. Okay, good. Okay, bye. Okay, bye, Jennerzo, with you fucking cunty face cunt. Like, I'm really happy to see you die. Goodbye, whatever your fucking name is, who has some strange out of nowhere, like, you try and build yourself up as like a guy who doesn't care and will kill lots of people and blah blah blah, and then out of nowhere you grow a conscience and you can't shoot the one guy you're supposed to fucking shoot in the fucking head. Like, of course not, because you know, shitty writing. And then they throw in all of these little fucking member berries, like, oh hey, remember this guy? Oh, remember the two guys who try and pick a fight with Luke? Yeah, you remember them? Here, let's throw them in your face. Got it. Yeah, we're gonna be insulting. And then, oh, here, stare at this creepy ass CGI Tarkin for
uh
far too long.
well, here's my thought on. Oh, and good morning, Chop Chop.
Morning, Chop Top.
And here's my thought on it. We knew that they were going to die. They said in Star Wars that many rebels died to get this information. So we're expecting that the characters are going to die. Okay, we knew that when the first frame of film rolled. It's your responsibility as a writer, as a filmmaker, to make you care, to make people care about the characters, so that when they die, it's an actual tragedy instead of going, I wonder if the Solo movie's going to be any better.
Ugh.
And I couldn't get through. I got through 20 minutes of the Solo movie, and I was done. I was like, this is vapid. This is a fucking cash grab. This is a piece of shit. And I mean, Harrison Ford didn't want to have anything to do with it, even to the point where the guy who was cast as Solo, they had to they had to pay for Harrison Ford's time to sit down with this kid to talk about the character.
Because Harrison Ford has been done with Han Solo since Empire Strikes Back.
Well, he is the Spock of Star Wars, because Leonard Nimoy was just like, fucking kill me off in 2 and I'm done. Just kill me. I don't want to do this anymore. And then of course they offered Leonard Nimoy the chance to direct, and he's like, okay, fuck it, I'll come back. Because he would have never gotten that opportunity anyplace else. But apparently Harrison's still banging Ally McBeal, and he's sitting on his big piles of cash that he made not only from Star Wars but from the Raiders franchise. So he couldn't give 2 fucks. Yeah, I kind of liked Alucard brought up Firefly.
Oh, Firefly.
I kind of liked it. I won't say that it's a massive missed opportunity, because I think there was probably some additional fuckery going on, but you can say that it was well written, even though when it came out, they showed them all in the wrong order. They did not go, episode 1 and then all the way through to, I think it was 15, because they canceled them after 12 and 3 of them didn't even air. But you liked the characters. You gave a shit about the characters. It took very little time. And, Jane was the biggest asshole, but you even liked him.
Yeah.
And could they have not spent a little more time and have done that with all these spinoffs? Now I know they were talking about doing a Lando one shot. They were also talking about doing a Boba Fett one shot. Matter of fact, they were in pre-production for Boba Fett, and when Solo tanked so bad, they put it on the back burner. They put it back into developmental hell.
As they very well should.
Well, because they just really didn't get the joke that the cool thing about Boba Fett was he was a paper badass. If Darth Vader would not have said to him, "No disintegrations," then he would have never had the fantasizing about him. And he really only had, what was it, like 2 lines, like "as you wish," and "he's no good to me dead."
Yeah, no, he didn't have a lot of lines in the movie. He wasn't any form of pivotal character.
Well, I mean, he's the one who stalked and got Solo. He's the one who tracked him to the Cloud City. So, I mean, as far as a plot device to keep things moving along, he was a worthy character. Unlike Phasma. I mean, holy God, they built her up as a badass to start off with, and by the way, she does have some kick-ass armor too. That chrome armor was pretty wicked. But I mean, automatically when they capture her, she's like, okay, here's the code. Here's the code for the shields. Sorry, didn't mean to waste any time. There you go. We're done. And then she literally gets whacked. I mean, she shows up and has like a 10-second fight and then gets whacked in uh, whatever that piece of shit was, The Last Jedi. I mean, it's like, oh, okay, we're building up to a big fight scene, and nope. She gets blasted and falls down into the molten abyss below. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You wasted that much time on a character with no payoff? Have you ever
Mm-hmm.
written anything before? You know, it's like the old Stanislavski. If you're going to write a play and you introduce a gun in the first act, you better use it by the third.
Yeah.
Or the gun should have never been in there in the first place. And that's what I felt like. Basically, I felt like Ryan Johnson was just trying to say, fuck you and your tropes. I'm going to do the exact opposite of what you think I'm going to do.
Yeah, no, and honestly, like that's exactly how it felt. Like it was a giant fuck you to any and all of the fans.
Yeah. I mean, even if you get somebody like Mark Hamill, who is intrinsically intertwined in this, and he was saying from the very start of this new trilogy that, you know, I had a bad feeling about this. And then it came to pass. I mean, Carrie Fisher, for all of her good points, um, she was basically a drug-addled idiot. And she just kept telling Mark to take the paycheck, to shut up and take the paycheck. And Mark Hamill makes more money convention appearances than he would have ever made off residuals for any of those movies.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he looked at it at a completely with a completely different perspective. He looked at it as a fan and said, people are not going to like this, guys. What can we do to fix this? And they're like, shut the fuck up. You're getting paid. Be Carrie Fisher. Shut up. And, you know, I guess that kind of karmically bit him in the ass too, because even though Fisher died before before they had wrapped, before they had closed the picture, I mean, she had shot all her scenes out.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they found out that she died from mixing drugs. So no simpies there. But they could have pulled him off Tarkin with her and made her take over that ship and fly it in to the Empire. They could have made that sacrifice and then changed the ending to where, okay, Luke's going to die in the final one. We know Luke's going to die in the final one. But, you know, give us that hero death, because for Leia, that would have been a kick-ass hero death.
Oh yeah.
But then again, they Ryan Johnson with the writing, even with Laura Dern flying it in, going warp into one of the ships, is like, oh well, I guess that didn't make a fucking bit of difference because they're still following us and we made it to the planet, but they're going to kill us here on the planet. I'm like, are you fucking insane? You make that the end of the movie. You make the sacrifice the end of the movie. They fly in, she hits them, disrupts all the ships, and all the rebel ships get away. And now they're fucked. They don't have their lead. They don't have their number one inspiration. Leia is dead. She is gone. What are they going to do? It ends on a down note, just like Empire did. And then, boom, you jump right into the third movie of how they deal with a catastrophic loss of basically almost a godlike figure that Leia was. And then that in turn forces Luke to come out. And I saw great potential with them being able to have Luke go dark side because they killed his sister, and have him just go, I'm fucking all you motherfuckers up. I'm going to kill you with my dinky little laser sword. I'm going to hurt you. And then basically have him do the realization at the very end, like, oh, I'm way too evil. And, you know, he allows himself to be taken out.
Yeah.
That would have been a much better ending. But, you know, hey, what do I know?
No, yeah. There's a variety of different ways could have written a way better movie. But for now, hi Lotus Wolf and hi Lo-Fi.
Very good
Hi.
morning to you, Lo-Fi.
Hi.
And hello, Lotus Wolf. So, are you much of a Star Wars fan, Lo-Fi?
I was, and then I saw first Rogue One, and then number 8, uh, and now I'm not a fan anymore.
Yeah, I would say they have effectively destroyed a franchise that could have gone on for a long, long time.
Yeah.
It's just when you have no respect for the material, you know it's going to suck. Like, you know, all the horror movies that get a part 6 and 7 and 8.
It's sad because first they did it. They Star Wars is dead. It's I don't look forward to Star Wars movies anymore. I don't look forward to Predator movies anymore. I don't look forward to Alien movies anymore.
Yeah, I just recently watched Predator, the new one.
Yeah, where they try to weaponize autism.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
How does it make sense that the predators hunt things to improve themselves when they themselves are better than what they hunt? I hate it.
Well, and you would think, since it was Shane Black who was one of the original orchestrators of the first Predator, was now not only writing but directing, you would think that, I mean, you can tell the Shane Black lines that are in there, but you would think he'd have a little bit more respect for it.
Yeah. Like the Predator movie from 2010 was so much better than this.
Like, I'm gonna say though, when it comes to Star Wars, if they do a Darth Revan movie, I'm on board for that, like, so hard.
Yeah,
You
just
have
wait,
no idea.
then you go watch it, and then they fucking break the character.
They make him the most dark side of all the dark side instead of making him like one of the first, quote, like, gray,
and also gay and black and a social justice
and female.
Jedi and female transgender.
Oh, wait a minute. Now, was this a character from the animated?
No, from Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic.
Is that a game?
Yes.
Okay, haven't played it. Have no idea. But I did once interview the guy who did some of the lead 2D animation for the Star Wars games back then.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah. I mean, see, the bad thing about it is that better canon exists for a lot of these franchises in the comic books and in the video games, and Hollywood refuses to use them.
Yeah, and now they're
they made the decision of saying, LucasArts made the decision of saying, should we use the books? No, none of the books are canon anymore.
Yeah, which was a dumb move.
Should we use the games? Nope, none of the games are canon anymore.
But if you remember, after Star Wars came out, and I have a copy of this still, I have a first print of it, a book called Splinter in the Mind's Eye came out. And it was the continuation of Luke going after Vader. This was sanctioned by George Lucas. and they had to find this mind gem, and Luke and Leia actually have a romance. And also, Luke ends up using this mind gem to shred Darth Vader and kill him.
Yeah, because I believe Luke and Leia weren't originally supposed to be siblings. They were supposed to be the original romance, but people, like I said, spooged all over themselves over douche whole fucking Solo, so goddamn hard that they're just like, oh, there we go. Oh, Han Solo, go Han Solo your fucking selves, you fuckers. Let him die. Sorry.
So are you sure that he wasn't boner inspiring then?
He was boner inspiring to a bunch of the little fuckheads who fucking jerked off over him.
I have to say, I think it's better that they're brother and sister. I think it's a nice quote mini twist on the original.
I just had a problem with going. I know Han is going to die in 7. And that's because he was so loudmouth about it. About that, I mean, when they started the negotiations, the first thing was he's like, "I want to die in this. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm an old man. I've got pussy at home. I have stacks of money I sleep on at night. I don't need this anymore." So you knew coming in that we were going to lose a major character, but honestly, there wasn't an emotional crux to it. There wasn't like oh, he's dead. It's like, oh, he's dead.
There wasn't an emotional crux for you, and there wasn't one for me because I hated him, and I was glad to see him die. Like, I think that was my emotional crux was, oh God, I'm gonna get hurt laughing so hard, over finally seeing this fuckhead dead. But there were a lot of people who were like, no, why did they kill him? Like, they should have killed him, and oh, we should have known he was gonna die, but we didn't want him to die because it's Han Solo. And
yeah, one of my friends in Denmark, she started crying in the cinema while we watched it because he's her favorite character.
Well, I have so much trouble justifying anything, but there was one good character moment from 8. It was the point when Darth Driver was going to shoot up that rebel ship, and then he sensed that his mom was on the ship, right? And he had that moment of hesitation.
I am telling you, Kylo Ren's character development in 8, like from 7, and even in 7, and a lot of people will get mad at me and have gotten mad at me, but like he's probably one of the best developed characters in this new franchise thus far.
Well, but they keep changing him up. That was the bad thing, because when you jump from J.J. Abrams to Rian Johnson, it just seems like, okay, here's character beats that we have to have. I mean, because he gets fucking cucked by like almost everybody in that movie. I mean, they keep giving him shit left and right. Sidious, is always saying, "Oh, you got beat by a girl," and all this shit. It's just like, they really want you to feel sorry, and they pushed a little too hard.
Yeah, they can try and make you feel sorry for him, and for me, it's not a matter of feeling sorry. It's the fact that like I found him to be, a well-developed character. Like, he was probably one of the only ones that I was like, all right, I'm down with this. I can see the strength and the struggle.
I think the reason you can say I think part of the reason is that the rest of the characters in that movie are so underdeveloped and terrible that even him with his mediocre development appears to be well developed.
No, because I can't disagree with that.
He has
Yeah.
no competition in the movie for development, so even mediocrity turns up and see, something's developing. Holy shit, what? That can happen in this movie?
Yeah, and they bent over Ray's storyline completely. You know, it's just like, oh, you know, you were a nobody from nowhere. Fuck you, bye. And it's like, wait a minute, that could have been, because I think what they weren't seeing when they went and did this trilogy is the fact that Star Wars was literally based on the Saturday morning serials.
Yeah.
You know, the ones that you would see that start before the movie, the old Buster Crab ones with Flash Gordon and the Space Rangers and all that good stuff. It was meant to be a tad bit hokey, but it was always a Greek heroes versus villains kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they thought they were going to be more intellectual, and it turned out that they really needed to start passing out the helmets and riding the short bus.
Yeah. Ryan Johnson wanted to do the opposite of what people expected, and he
Yeah.
Have anyone seen Han Solo movie then?
I got 20 minutes into it and bailed.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is not the Han Solo that I know. And they're like, oh yeah, well they're making they're making Lando pansexual, and I'm like, who cares unless you guys are going to show a fuck scene, you know, like a nice three-way between, you know, Han, Chewie, and Lando.
Yeah.
I don't care unless you're going to show it. Then I don't need to know it.
And they didn't even that's not even a real thing. That's just something that like all these people wanted to try and be like, oh look, he's pansexual because like the robot is in love with him.
He fucks a
right? No, it doesn't.
So it's silly. It's silly because. Okay, I thanks for the invitation. I have to go cut up a tree with a motor saw.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So the trees are attacking, or
no? I cut it down yesterday, a big bitch, and I now I have to cut the branches off and such, and then cut the trunk into handleable pieces.
Okay, so it's a statement then. I won. I really won.
Yes, exactly. It's I'm doing it in front of the other trees to show them to respect me.
It's for dominance.
Yeah, to show who's dominant I am. I'll cut you.
You've been around for hundreds of years, and I took you out in 3 hours.
Yeah, it took 100 years to grow. 30 minutes later, you're dead, bitch. Okay. Well, see you around. Thanks for the invitation.
Well, thanks for coming on, Lovely. You're always welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, and yes, Metaphorist, you are right. It's Chekhov's gun. I always think in the acting part when it comes to plays. So that's why I said Stanislavski. I've never actually seen chainsaw porn.
Really?
No. Now, one of the cool things, because, you know, around where I live in the Midwest, they always have like the local JCs and they'll do haunted houses.
Yeah.
The haunted houses, they're almost up and running. They're starting off like next week or something. So, we're gonna go out and enjoy one of those. But one of the neatest ideas that they came up with is this guy rigged a chainsaw, and the chain itself, the belt, he actually made it out of links of flint.
Oh.
So when he would hit something and strike it, like, you know, like he was running around outside, you know, chasing people outside, and he would hit the trash can and it would spark, or he would hit a telephone pole and it would spark.
That's pretty badass.
Yeah, that was genius. It literally chased one of the people away that was in our party.
Oh, nice.
So, and we were just laughing our asses off because we were wasted. Accidentally. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Hey.
Morning.
Morning, Chop Top. How you doing?
Good. Trying to wake up.
Well, this is definitely not the stream to wake you up.
No.
Because we are so milquetoast. We have no opinions about anything.
None.
Oh no, you guys had some good opinions on the travesty that's the new Star Wars.
I and honestly, I think the only people who thought that it's still good are the Disney executives.
Well, the people who are just fans of the name. You know, it has Star Wars on it, so to them it'll be good. I think I watched 20 minutes of that first one, and I was like, "No, this isn't for me. I'm good."
I wanted to go out before Toys R Us closed, so I could pay 90 cents and buy a Rose Tico just so I could melt her head. Because oh my god, I mean, if you're going to build strong characters, I'm cool with that. If you're going to introduce new characters, I'm cool with that. If you're going to make them incredibly masturbatory, like they're really doing nothing for no apparent reason and just to what would you say, agendize?
Ham fist your politics.
Yeah, don't push your politics on people. This is a turn off your brain and enjoy. Grab
escapism.
Yeah.
You know, I have the same opinion when they do it in video games and shit. Like, you can do it and do it naturally. That's cool. That's good writing, and that's fine. But when you just fucking try and ham fist it without lube, it's like
or put in the Vaseline.
You know, it's just like, what the fuck?
Oh, by the way, Joshua is saying that, yeah, your camera is black. Your camera is on and it is black.
Is it?
I don't know. Mongo only pawn in Game of Life.
Oh.
So, okay, you've got the chance. You've been given the availability. You won the lottery. How do you fix this trilogy?
End it. Forget about it.
You mean not do a 3?
Yep. Sorry, folks. We're closing shop. Have fun.
But they're going to do a 3. You know they are.
Oh, they're going to do more than a 3.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to fucking milk this for all it's worth. And as long as people still fill the seats and buy tickets, they'll keep doing it.
Well,
I mean, the MCU is a perfect example of that. And I know people love the MCU, but I mean, fuck, we're going on what, like 15 films now?
I think Infinity War was 18.
Yeah, that's fucking ridiculous.
But no, Infinity War was a damn good film, though. It was great popcorn.
Yeah, though, but by this time, there's people like me who are just burnt on it. Like,
see, no. I'm not burnt on it, but I can't. An Infinity War felt so disjointed. Like, at least the one thing I'm gonna give to the MCU is it's not the
good night, Addie.
DCEU. Oh, good night, Adamantine.
Okay, that it's not what?
It's not the DCEU.
I don't get that. Correlate it for me.
It's not the crap fest that is the Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman bullshit that they've been shoving down our throats.
I think that just turned out so horrible because they were trying to catch up to what Marvel was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't realize that Marvel movies were dog shit for a long time.
They were turn your brain off popcorn movies.
Not even that. They were just bad. I'll argue with anybody. The first 2 or 3 X-Men movies were just awful.
But that was Fox. That wasn't Marvel Studios.
Yeah, they learned a lot from that.
Well, no, they actually they didn't, because Fox had such an iron grip on X-Men That's why when Marvel Studios started up, they're like, well, the first thing we're going to do, the one that we haven't sold the rights away to, is Iron Man. What the fuck? That's safe. He's a second tier character. We can get away with doing this one. And it blew up.
Well, yeah, because they learned what not to do from the way Fox did the X-Men movies.
Well, they put a kick-ass actor in the role and let him go. Now, I will say I've got problems with Iron Man 2 and 3. I thought those were pretty shitty.
Yeah, I think the last Marvel movie I watched was Age of Ultron. And I was just like,
that one's a piece of shit, though. That one sucked.
My buddy told me they get better after that, but I'm burned on the whole comic book thing.
They do. Doctor Strange is very good. It's a very good movie. The two Guardians movies, the first one more than the second, were very good.
Yeah, the only thing I have watched those. I think the thing I liked most about the second one was just Kurt Russell.
Well, yeah, I've always been a Kurt Russell fan.
I grew up on 80s movies, so Kurt is the fucking man.
Dude, I grew up on 70s movies with computer wore tennis shoes. or the world's greatest athlete. I mean, he was in Disney. He was one of those actors who was trained from almost birth to be a Disney kid. Just because of how old he was, he kind of missed the flow. So he was never put into the Mouseketeer Club because he was in between both iterations. But Disney used him for any movie that they were bringing out that was live
That's
action.
a good thing. I couldn't picture Snake Plissken in the Musketeers.
Oh, I could. Mowing them down.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
You know they've got the reboot going, right? Escape from New York.
Yeah, I know. I think at this point I've come to terms with everything movie-wise that I love. I'm going to see a remake of in the next 10 years. As long as they don't try and redo The Great Escape, I won't burn anything to the ground.
I just want them to leave things the fuck alone. You're not going to make them any better. They're called classics for a reason. And most people have forgotten that there is a reason for the word classics. And that's what sticks in my craw. You know, when I heard they were going to make Total Recall, I'm like, Total Recall was the right man for the right time. Mm-hmm. Paul Verhoeven is a smartass, and that movie is very smartass.
I think one of the remakes that stands out most is how they tried to remake Point Break, and it just didn't work because the original Point Break was the right actors at the right time, the 90s surfer bros, and it just didn't translate to 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you can't. And I know that one was relatively cheap for them to do. So that's what the big green light was on that one. Aha! Johnny Human Torch, die!
What?
Oh, there's some flies that landed, and they were all clustered in one place. So I did one of these. Wait a minute here. I'll do it in front of the mic so you can hear it.
You know, like Scarface, they're remaking Scarface.
Yeah, which is stupid.
Okay. Like, what are you going to do? Set it in the 80s again? Well, we've seen that movie, and you're not going to fucking have Pacino. So it's not going to be as good. Or are you going to modernize it and lose the entire feeling that surrounded Miami in the 1980s? Well, your movie's gone at that point. You know, the same with the Crow remake coming up. What the fuck?
Ooh.
Well,
like, you're not going to capture that dingy, dark 90s feeling.
Well, I mean, you can always bring Alex Proyas back. It's not like he's dead or still. They're
remaking Akira. Really?
Wait a minute. Well, Akira, are they remaking it live action?
I don't know. I'm just scrolling through remakes on IMDb.
Because I'll say this. Anybody who says they understand Akira all the way through is lying.
Yeah, I've watched that movie 100 times and I still don't fucking get it.
Yeah,
You know what I understood about it? Nothing.
I mean,
Tetsuo.
really, it was meant to be eye candy. This is not Ghibli Studios, man. This is not somebody who has a cohesive plot like Miyazaki to go from beginning to end. They were just making something that was fucking eye candy, and they succeeded. I mean, it was pretty awesome.
I'm looking through this list and like, Jesus fucking Christ, they're hitting 90s now. Like, Drop Dead Fred is scheduled for a remake. Fletch 1, Starship Troopers, Neverending Story, War Games, Time Bandits, American Psycho, The Birds, Commando, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Escape from New York, Highlander, fucking Heavy Metal.
Remember when I promised to kill you last, Sully? Yeah, you promised.
I think that is my least favorite Schwarzenegger flick.
Oh no, there's some worse
Commando.
No, there's some worse ones, but very good morning, everyday man, Malachi and Free and Finley.
Videodrome, Weird Science and the Toxic Avenger.
No, you cannot remake. Videodrome is way too fucked up. Unless they're actually going to have the guy who invented it. Unless they're going to have Cronenberg do it, then there's no real reason to.
Here's what we needed: a remake of Bloodsport. We so needed that. Mortal Kombat, we definitely needed that. Oh, they're remaking Suspiria. Awesome.
Suspiria, I thought was already in the can.
Oh, is it? Oh, I guess it is.
Yeah.
Time Cop. Yep, totally needed a remake of that.
Well, then again,
the first one wasn't dog shit enough.
I'm pretty sure there's nobody in Hollywood that knows what the word "yallo" means anyway. So yeah, that one's going to be a turd burger.
Firestar, Hellraiser. Come on.
Now
that's it. I just need to go and burn down Hollywood.
Well, but I did hear rumor that Clive Barker was involved with this reboot.
Yeah, it's not going to be the same without what's his name playing fucking Pinhead.
Oh, damn it, Douglas. Shit.
Yeah, I forgot his name. But like even the shitty sequels they were putting out, I still enjoyed until he left, and then I was like, oh well, this isn't fucking Pinhead. I'm good.
Yeah, the last two movies had somebody else in the role.
Mm-hmm.
And they changed the makeup too.
But like I said, I've come to terms with it as long as they don't try and redo The Great Escape. That is my all-time favorite movie. And it should just be left alone.
Malachi, you are true in the fact that Scarface was a remake, but Scarface was a remake of a movie that came out, I believe it's the 1930s, and that movie still holds up. That movie kicks ass. What Brian De Palma decided to do was to update it. So even though it has the same name, it is a different movie.
Yeah, and it just captures 1980s Miami perfectly.
Well, and also if I can lean into this reboot and remake thing, the Thing from Another World was an okay movie. I mean, it was more about McCarthyism and that type of paranoia. And John Carpenter, when he did his remake, he did make it about paranoia, but in a very different way. I mean, it was the same movie, but it was a different movie. Some people can take a hold of properties and remake them, but it's very, very rare that they turn out to be good or even better than the actual original movie. And we saw this wave come through back in the late 90s, early 2000s, when they started pulling every Japanese and Korean horror film.
Yeah.
And
I hated that time period.
yeah,
As a big horror fan, I'm not a big fan of the Japanese style of horror.
Okay, so I am curious, Kadan.
Yes.
We're back to the original question.
Uh-oh.
They handed you over the last movie for this trilogy. What do you do with it?
That's a good question.
Burn it down.
give me some time to think, because honestly, first off, take the politics out of it. Like, first and foremost, that I think is the most imperative thing that needs to be done, is to just take the politics out, because this is just supposed to be, some happy little feel good movies, the good versus the bad, and don't worry about the fact that it's the same old kind of trope. Like, there's a reason why these tropes exist and why they're still used, because they work, and for what people want them for, that's what you need to do. Is just allow the work to just allow it to I don't, because I don't want to give up on it, like, I don't want to give up on it. I still want to have, I want there to be a new hope for these movies.
I just have the dark side
Just
win, and
that was so bad.
I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of disappointed. I was hoping that I could get my son into Star Wars through these new movies, and then I lost interest in him, and I just showed him the old movies, and he got into it anyways.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the original trilogy. It holds up. It's camp. I mean, it's Saturday morning cereal, done in the 70s. And I'll be honest with you, I really don't think there's any way to save any of the patients in this car crash. Like I was saying, what I would have done was stop the movie. I would have had Leia sacrifice herself. I would have stopped the movie with the rebels getting away, and then it would allow for a little bit of retooling to have a climax and to have a build, and to allow the thing to go out in style, because then you give them, just like you gave them in Return of the Jedi, you give them a chance to build back up again. You give them a chance to set up, well, we fucked up this assault, so let's go ahead and go in with this. And then you can end the movie on a good note. Luke dies through the only thing that I would have written in my head is that Luke dies through sacrifice. He does the thing where finally what Vader couldn't make him do, the idiot Kylo made him do, which is flip over to the dark side and just start wiping people out. And then he realizes his own badness, and then figures out a way to do some type of self-sacrifice move at the very end. And then they, all watch the Ewoks dance and sing while they're spirit ghosts.
Yeah. Give the redemption arc.
Yeah. I mean, because I loved it. There was a lot of people who were saying that, yeah, the character Luke, the only reason why he would, put himself out of society is the fact that he eventually realized that he was evil and he didn't want to be like his father, instead of the explanation that we got in 8, which was, I was fucking tired of this world, so I decided to be a hermit. Just not good enough, because Luke was a cheerleader.
That was the Ben Solo, or yeah, that was not the Ben Solo, the Obi-Wan Kenobi story right there. He became a hermit because he's just like, there's some fuck ups and I can't. He never went to the dark side, but he hermited himself
Well, yeah, and Luke was always the cheerleader. He always thought, "Yeah, we can do it, gang. You know, we can get this done. We can beat the big bad Empire." He was always that guy until he got his ass legitimately handed to him at the end of Empire, and said, "Well, shit, you know, I need to start getting my shit together." And I even saw like little flashes of dark side in him during Return of the Jedi, where as a kid watching this, I was unsure if he was not going to be the hero, that he would actually turn completely.
Mm-hmm.
And then that would keep the franchise going on. Little did I know, they were like, no, we don't need to continue this franchise. Let's make this a nice 3-picture deal. But yeah, I mean, exploring the fact of, you know, everybody's gone. He's literally the last Jedi. You know, Yogurt's dead. So it would have been nice to see what his journey would have been to the, you know, what do I do? I'm the only practitioner of this fucking thing. Do I want it to continue on? Do I want it to die out? I think that's a better character arc, a better moral question than, you know, drinking green creature tit milk and just kind of hiding away. I truly felt sorry for Mark Hamill too, because and there's tons of YouTube videos out there that show the expressions on his face, just like, you know, Affleck doing Sad Batman.
Mm.
There's tons of videos out there showing that, you know, Mark is trying to, as cordially as he can, to distance himself from Star Wars. I mean, almost to the point where he said on one radio show, unfortunately, this is not my Star Wars anymore. And
Yeah.
that's a sad thing to say, because he never passed the reins over.
Well, that's a thing though, is it's, you know, it's not his Star Wars. It's not mine, it's not yours. It's now for the new generation.
Well, yeah, but they needed to demarcate that too, because just like Chop Top was saying, you know, he showed the originals to his kid. And, you know, when I was help raising kids, I'm like, hey, guys, let's sit down and have a Star Wars day. You know, when their mommy was a little bit too out of it, that was a very good way to kill 6 hours. Sit down, have popcorn, let them watch with the, you know, my Bachelor surround sound system, as cool as it was, with, you know, my 36-inch TV. But yeah, I mean, that was a great introduction, and it fueled imagination. It definitely, people were definitely saying, well, what do you think Star Wars would be like in our generation? And unfortunately, you got the answer that it would be incompetently done by people who don't give a fuck, that they're doing just a straight out cash grab. Well, I tell you what, let's do this. What movie? Once again, you've got the director's chair. What movie would you like to remake or continue on to franchise it and do a sequel?
Oh.
Have I stumped the panel?
Oh, that's a good one. That's all right. Let me go through my head. Page Master.
Ooh. Wait a minute.
I want
Wait,
to see a remake of Page Master.
the animated, the one that had Macaulay Culkin?
Yes.
Okay. And
except I would like to see that remade with CGI.
Wow. Yeah, they could Harry Potter the shit out of that.
Yeah. Because I feel like, because I rewatched it recently, and as a kid, like, you know, it's it was good, mind you, as a kid with short little snippets. But I wanted, as an adult, I'm like, no, but I wanted more of each of these stories.
Zell is in the chat. Good morning. And Zell saying remake Last Jedi. And you still have the keys. Anybody that you would like to invite in, you certainly can. Chop Top,
What's up?
which one would you do?
What's that? I was out taking my dog. Sorry.
Would you do if you had the power to do a remake or the power to do a sequel? What movie would you remake or sequelize?
Huh. I'm gonna have to think on that one for a minute. Well, it wouldn't be a remake because remakes are just dog shit. So a sequel.
Is there a movie out there somewhere that needs to have another movie? To go deeper, that the lore was so good that you could still expand on.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about, was a movie, like one of those movies where when it ends, you're sad because it ended.
Waterworld. Make a prequel of Waterworld.
No, Waterworld, it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't good.
I don't know, maybe Fight Club.
Oh.
Well, they are talking about, because they've already done the comic book adaptation of the continuation of Fight Club.
Actually, no, I take that. I think the Predators 2010 needs a sequel.
Why?
Just because I really like the Adrian Brody character.
But I thought it wrapped itself up very very well.
It did. Well, after that, they did a small comics run on that character, and it was pretty good. I'd like to see some of that fleshed out.
Okay, now my pick, and I know this is completely and totally cheating, but I would push through the movie Axanar. I don't know if you guys have seen it, if you know about it.
I've never even heard of it.
Okay. It is a Star Trek fan film. They made it. It was called Prelude to Axanar. And Axanar was that, Axanar is one of those things in lore where they talk about, many things changed at that point. This was the point where the Klingons, they finally, because the Klingons were coming in and they were just fucking killing the Federation, just destroying them. They had no respect for them and were just wiping them out. Axanar in the lore was the place where the Federation stood their ground and won. And I will even throw that into the chat. It's only 20 minutes long. There's a thing called Prelude to Axanar.
Had Tony Todd in it.
It had Tony Todd in it. It had what's his name? Starbuck. Richard Hatch.
Richard
Hatch. Richard Hatch was in it. Gary Graham. They got some real nice, actual real actors to do it, and they said they could get this film done for $1 million. And CBS had to step in and say, "Oh no, you're using our characters." And it's like, well, technically, yes and no, because that's what buttfuck J.J. Abrams, and not just the SJWs with Star Trek Discovery, because CBS, and this is a horrible thing, long drawn out, long story short. CBS said, "Sure, you guys can make Star Trek, but we own the original, so you can't use the basically the continuum. You can't use the galaxy where this happens. So it has to be an alternate universe." And that's why a big reason why STD sucks. Well, besides the people pushing agendas, and why J.J. Abrams stuff was okay, but because they had to change so much about it that it pretty much fuckered over any of their chances that they had to make it a long running.
I just seen a story not too long ago where they fucked over some game devs. They were doing a VR thing for Star Trek.
Oh yeah, the guy in Great Britain where you could go on to
onto the ship and roam around.
Yeah, you can go onto the Enterprise D. There was no story. It was literally this guy just painstakingly put together the Enterprise D, and you could just walk around it. Every place in it you could walk around. You didn't interact with any characters. You just got to walk around it. That's it.
And they gave him a cease and desist because some fucking shitty studio put out a shitty VR game.
Malachite was saying, can we get a RoboCop meets Judge Dredd movie? And Zell was saying, I would like a sequel to Dark Knight Rises, Nightwing Begins.
Well,
I'm going to say something that's going to get me a lot of hate. The Nolan trilogy fucking sucked.
I don't think it sucked, but I think the last movie, they were drunk and just veered off into a tree. As a matter of fact, I like Batman Begins better than I like Dark Knight.
Although, here's one that he had said earlier, which was make a franchise out of Fifth Element.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that would be tough to get Luc Besson back on it, and without Luc and his vision, because I mean, along with Jean-Giraud Mobius, who is the guy who drew him for Heavy Metal, I mean that's where Luc Besson took a shit ton of inspiration, and without those two guys, I don't think they could extend it.
No, I don't think so either. I think that'd be really tough, at least. Like, Fifth Element for me is one of those movies of like near perfection, and then on top of that, the woman Luc Besson's ex fiance, who
Mila Jovovich,
played Lava Laguna.
She was the blue chick.
Oh, the blue chick. Okay,
the blue opera singer.
She has the ability to actually sing that song in that way.
Just saying, I would have totally fucked that blue alien chick.
You are not alone in that. I've heard that.
Like, that's why I'm all on board with Space Force. I would love to be the first human to fuck an alien.
Well, that's the only time in my book that tentacles have been sexy. And I brought the room to silence.
But yeah, I don't know. I didn't care for Nolan's trilogy. I just didn't think those characters worked all that well in the real world.
Honestly, I thought he did better than Tim Burton. I hate the Burton
fucking
stuff.
Heresy. Like, I'll give you the second one was but the first Michael Keaton Batman was great.
No, it's a good film, but I don't like Tim Burton's sensibilities because he started getting out of control in 2, and he wanted to do.
He got out
3.
of control in 2.
And my biggest complaint is it shouldn't have been called Batman. It should have been called Joker, with an occasional appearance by Batman.
Zal Batista, Army of Darkness 2. No.
No.
Actually, I think that franchise is dead.
Well, everything that I've read, it was Rob Tappert who really fucked over the series that they were doing on Stars.
And the thing that bothers me most about that is it was just getting to a point where we were really about to see new stuff, like the whole apocalyptic wasteland type deal, and we were starting to really venture into some new territory, and they decided to end it there.
Oh, I was all about it, and then the last either 2 or 3 episodes, it's like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, they called it in.
Well, yeah, because they said no, this has to be changed, and this has to be changed, and she can't be Ash's daughter, and blah blah blah. And it's like, just quit.
Yeah.
Just stop fucking with the people who are writing it. Let them continue to write because they are fans. Oh, and good morning, Jolly Rogers.
But yeah, I was kind of disappointed with that. Like, it was starting to like get into some different territory, and they decided to cut it off.
Yeah, some things they should just let die. Even Escape from LA, which was essentially Escape from New York on the left coast.
That I think that was just an inside joke for Carpenter. That's why, like, it got such bad reviews, and he just sat back laughing. Like, obviously, you didn't. It fucking went over your head.
Well, because I mean, if you do take a look back at it, he's doing a parody of his own film, and
it's a parody and just fan service.
Oh yeah,
you know, kind of like how a lot of people disliked Boondock Saints 2, and that was just purely a film for the fans.
Oh yeah, because brother needed some money, so he came up. Technically, there's a 3.
Yeah,
there's a 3 script, but
he's having a hard time getting everybody on board with it.
Well, actually, Rita said that he was on board. That he wanted to play these characters out to give him a closure to the arc.
Yeah, I mean, actually, yeah, that would be a good sequel for a movie, is to finish out that story.
Yeah, but I don't know if you've ever seen the documentary Overnight.
Mm-mm.
It literally goes into behind the scenes because they thought it was going to be, something big because, he was courted by Harvey Weinstein. God damn it, I can't think of his name. The writer director.
Oh, Troy Duffy.
Thank you. He was courted by him, and then in this documentary, it shows how he starts becoming more and more of an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
You give somebody a little power, and you see how they react. It just amplifies who they are. Well, he was an asshole, and it shows how he fucking buried himself in Hollywood. Had to go overseas to get the financing for Boondock Saints, because I remember it never opened anywhere where I was around.
Well, a big part of that was Columbine had just happened, so
that's
nobody wanted to fucking touch that shit with a 10-foot pole.
Okay, watch the documentary. That's one of the excuses that was brought up. He had literally burned almost every bridge with every distribution company, so nobody wanted to actually carry it. It wasn't Columbine. It was his douchebaggery, which tanked not only his career, but the film. It's really, really interesting.
I'll have to look that up.
I don't know if it's on the YouTubes. Let's see. Let's find out. Yeah, are you actually going to have it? I don't see it, but I can go to my buddies. I know that my
I'm sure I'll be able to find it online somewhere.
Yeah, actually, that's one of the few that I kept because, it basically said, "Oh, it's about the Boondock Saints," and I'm like, "Oh well, shit. Okay, I want to see this." And so, back when they had things like Hollywood Video and Blockbuster, and they'd run something through that really wasn't getting them any buys, so they decided to put shit up for sale. That's where I bought mine.
I missed that when Blockbuster closed. I fucking got a ton of movies.
Oh yeah, me too. I even got a copy of the 2 weirdest ones that I picked up. I got a copy of Fired Up. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's a movie about guys who football guys who want to get some pussy, and they find out that the best place to go and get pussy in their minds is to go to this summer camp for cheerleaders, so that they can be out and knocking boots, and it's pretty funny. I don't know why I watched it in the first place, but I watched it and I was just like, yeah, this is funny. And then I saw it there for like $2, and I'm like, yeah, I'll buy this. And
Man,
the other one,
sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say there was a while there where I'd take $100 every paycheck and go in there and just buy a stack of movies.
Oh, the other one I got was Hooper, the old Burt Reynolds movie about the stuntman. That was like the first one where they actually started doing the extended scenes and doing outtakes at the end of films. Because Hal Needham, who was actually a stunt coordinator, was the director. And he was like, man, we had like 5 cameras set up to catch this one stunt. I'd love to be able to show all this extra footage. And somebody suggested, well, why don't you show it while you're running credits? So not only did he show the extra stunts, but he also showed, the blooper reel. And it's one of the first movies that actually kept people in theaters until the very end of the credit sequence. So that's pretty cool. So I got that going for me.
What movie was that?
Hooper.
Hooper? With
Hooper.
an H?
Yep, with an H.
You know a movie I watched last night that I hadn't seen in forever? The original Tales from the Crypt movie, the British one.
Are you talking about the one in the 70s?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I own both of them. You got a double disc for the midnight. The MGM did this great thing called Midnight Horror Matinee, where they would release Midnight Madness, where they would release movies, usually 2 at a time on one disc. And that one had Tales from the Crypt and Vault of Horror.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm sorry. Continue, because that's.
Oh, I was just bringing it up. I haven't watched it forever. It's a really good fucking movie. Holds up.
Yeah, well, and unlike Tales from the Crypt, the TV show, both Tales from the Crypt and Vault of Horror, those 2 movies that came out almost back to back, they were based off of the EC comics.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know a couple of the original show episodes were based off the comics, and then they got away from it.
The one that I always liked was the one where Tim Curry played like 3 or 4 different roles.
Oh, Death of a Salesman.
Yeah.
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 That was a great one.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. That was probably the last good thing that he did before he had his stroke.
I think my favorite one was the first one about the electrocutioner, where what's his name? He was in the Demon Knight movie.
Yeah, names are failing.
William Sadler.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he plays the executioner. Fucking gets fired and starts electrocuting people.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Sadler stuff, and you can compare him to when he was the asshole, one of the asshole guys in The Rock, and then he was Death in Bill and Ted's.
Mm-hmm.
The boy's got range.
Oh yeah, he's been in a fucking ton of stuff.
Yeah, he's kind of one of those go-to actors.
Oh shit, I forgot he was in Die Hard too.
Well, mother puss bucket. I just don't know how to do this one correctly. anything that I'm searching on there, it is not giving me. Okay, let's try that one. Nah, it's only bringing out. It's a documentary, guys. Come on now. I don't know how to search for it any other way. Oh, well, fuck you. I own it. So there we go. Okay, let's get rid of that so I can keep moving. Oh, yeah, Furry. I really like that movie website. Matter of fact, that's the one that I was looking at. Which is well, I mean, it used to be Darewall. Darewall gets shut down. It's a free stream. It's a free to stream place where they just gather everything. Like right now, the big ones right now that they're streaming for free, the top 4 that just came in are Teen Titans Go, the movie, A Star is Born, which I'll probably watch, Sorry to Bother You. Nah, I don't know what that is, but it's saying it's a must see. And then Venom. And it depends on how long that they've been out. Some of them can be digital transfers. Some of them can be, you know, the actual DVD got released. And a lot of them that are brand new, like Venom, are somebody sitting in a theater with a digital camcorder. Oh, hell, I'll put the link in. So, yeah, if you guys are actually, and they also keep up on TV shows. That's how I was able to keep up on Venture Brothers. I heard you start to say something.
Yeah, I thought you were about to say something. But I know one of the places that I like to go to try and keep up on at least some of the like animated TV shows and stuff is watchcartoonsonline.net.org dot something, watch cartoon online. I believe, yeah.
I think I have that. I think I have that one bookmarked too. Yeah, it's Watch Cartoon Online.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that one bookmarked too. I like it.
Was it like a cartoon streaming thing?
Yeah, technically they pull anything that's a cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
And it can go anywhere from, you know, anime to, you know, 70s Scooby-Doo. It has all 43 Rick and Morty episodes. Oh boy.
I just want to find a spot to watch old school Looney Tunes.
I think they do have Looney Tunes.
Because most of the good Looney Tunes episodes, even when they play Looney Tunes on TV, it's like a selection of 10 of them. Like like a lot of the good ones are problematic these days.
Dude, when I was a kid, they decided that Warner Brothers cartoons were too violent, so they physically went in and altered them. They took a lot of the violence out, like the old shotgun gimmick where you know, Daffy Duck gets his face blown off and his beak spinning around his head. They just made the sound of the gunshot, and then they went and switched to the next scene.
Yeah,
so,
I remember watching a lot of those on what was it, TNT? Played them every night.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, here's another good one. This is Toon Nova. They're really good for cartoons as well.
I haven't seen a Yosemite Sam cartoon on TV in fucking years.
Okay, since we're talking a little bit about cartoons, is there anybody who can explain to me why cartoons like Steven Universe, Adventure Time, and Bob's Burgers are still popular?
People are retarded. Wow. That's the easy one.
With Steven Universe, a lot of it actually has to do with the music. You know, some of the songs that are in there, you know, pretty catchy. Adventure Time has some of that same kind of charm. Uh, and it actually doesn't have too bad of a storyline. Like to be
Adventure
honest,
Time's
like
tolerable.
I was a fan of Adventure Time because like it was an intriguing storyline and I was just wondering like what the hell was this apocalypse that fucking happened? Like explain this to me. And so I'd watch it every episode to try and figure out like the fuck is going on.
Okay, I'll trust you.
Yeah.
I still won't
Um
watch any more of it.
with Bob's Burgers, I mean, it's John H. Benjamin.
Well, hell, just go watch him in Archer. He's infinitely funnier there. Although I do admit I liked the crossover that they did with Archer and Bob's Burgers.
Oh, I never saw that.
Yeah, he tries to. It's the beginning of, I think, maybe season 4,
Mm-hmm.
where he did once again. You know, every Archer series starts with him running away and not wanting to do shit anymore. So this time, apparently, he got some type of amnesia, and he became a guy who opened up a burger franchise, and it's literally Bob's Burgers.
How did I miss that episode?
It's also the same episode where they find out that Cheryl Tunt is also a hotel magnate, and so they decide that they want to go along and help, and Pam brings it. It's either Pam or Cheryl. They bring a huge bag of hallucinogenic gummy bears.
Oh, that's got to be Pam. That's such a Pam thing to do.
And they just sit there and they chew on them all through, tripping out, getting massages while they're trying to get Archer to remember who he is. And he's being chased by Russian agents. And they call him Bob most of the way through it, until he finally flips the switch and then becomes the Archer that we all know and love. I didn't want to watch Archer. People kept telling me, Archer's something that you'd like, and then again, I've had friends that are just like, this movie was the bomb, you got to go watch it. God, what was it? Shit, it was the one, Aeon Flux. Somebody was like, Aeon Flux is the shit. And I went and watched it. I paid my good money for it. And I'm like, you know what? Aeon Flux, you missed it by a letter, because Aeon Flux is the shits.
What, the movie you talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, it wasn't. The cartoon, I remember. Oh, man. Watching it with my uncle when I was about 5.
Oh, the cartoon was a blast. I mean, it was.
I remember, and it wasn't even when it was a standalone show. It was when it was a show on, they had that whole block where it was Beavis and Butthead, Aeon Flux, the cartoon with, the big brain.
Yeah.
MTV Liquid Television.
Yep, Liquid Television.
Was it Liquid Television or was it MTV Oddities?
Well, Oddities had a spinoff from it, but Aeon was first in that, along with the Max.
Yeah, I love the Max.
Those are some of my earliest memories watching that with my uncle.
Yeah, you gotta like hobo superheroes.
I am so thankful I caught the ass end of that time period.
Well, I hate to say it, but it was about the same time that Cartoon Network was doing some real good stuff. Now, not so much. I mean, there is a lot of suck on Cartoon Network. And I swear to God, if they bring out another series that has that Cal Arts animation style, I might just have to be hostile.
I cut my cable cord 5-6 years ago now. So,
oh, dude, I haven't had cable since 2000, but I'll still backwatch stuff. I'll wait and then go for the binge. Like, you know, and Netflix makes it so easy for me now that that they're just like, here's all the episodes. Fuck you.
You're not doing shit for the next 3 days.
Oh, but I watched. I tell you what, I want my time back for goddamn Iron Fist season 2.
Yeah, I skipped that one.
Season 1 as well. I want my money back.
Yeah, I didn't watch Iron Fist.
I'm still saying that the best thing that Marvel Studios put out with Netflix is Punisher.
Oh, hands down.
Ultra violent.
John Bernthal captured Frank Castle perfectly.
He did a very good job on it, and he was. Plus, he was geeking on it too. So I'm like, that's cool. That's like anytime I see, what's his name? What was it? Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Ah, yes, Daddy Dean Morgan. Yes, please. Oh God. His Negan.
Well,
sorry, it just came a little.
Well,
yeah, right there.
It's so good.
His comedian was spot on in the Watchmen movie. And you could tell he was a comic book geek because he also did that small bit part in Jonah Hex.
I liked that movie.
I wish I could have seen the movie that they shot because they added a dickload to it.
And like I never got into the comics of Jonah Hex, so I went into it fresh, but I thought it was an enjoyable movie.
Well, Neville Dean, what is it? Neville Dean and Chambers, the two directors who were responsible for doing Crank. You know, they also are responsible for doing Ghost Rider 2, but you know, let's just not talk about that.
I didn't even know there was a Ghost Rider 2.
Oh yeah.
I watched the first one and I was like, yeah, I'm good.
But these guys shot their movie how they wanted to do it. They wanted to do with the Tim Truman comic book version of the kind of, he has a spirit walker kind of deal with him.
Mm-hmm.
But the studio didn't like it, so they fired him. And I think they brought on Steve Miner, the guy from Pixar. And they reshot a dickload of that movie.
Good old studio meddling.
Yeah. So I'd like to see what their original version was. You'll never get the chance to see what the original version.
I'm that way with Event Horizon.
Ooh.
But they found some cut footage, but it was in like a salt mine in fucking Romania or some shit. And it's real poor quality. Yeah,
for the anniversary edition. Yeah, they even had Paul W. Anderson, the director and co-writer. They actually put together a version with him, and he actually does commentary through it too. You can it's one of those clicks to where you can watch the whole thing, or you can just watch the actual release version.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, I think I liked Event Horizon. I did not think it was a bad movie. I think there's something better that could have been done with it. But yeah, you know, it's never up to us. I am hoping though, with all the backlash that they're getting from Star Wars, they either shape their shit up or ship out.
Yeah, they're still making money.
And that's all they care about.
Well, it made me think of the heavy metal movie. Do you remember the guy who was on trial? for just being a total asshole. That he was raping and pillaging across the universe. His name was Hanover Fist. And that's what I would like to rename Disney Studios to. Hanover Fist Studios.
It's appropriate.
We don't care what we make. We just make it.
As long as it'll make money.
So, wow, it's almost 6.
Indeed.
Wow. Are we not sleepy?
I woke up at like 4 today. My wife forced me to go to bed last night.
Yeah, I ate some. What the hell was it? The chicken chunks from Lee's Famous Recipe. And they just did not sit right.
I got a long fucking weekend that starts tomorrow.
Yeah?
Hmm?
Are you running it again?
Oh, yeah. Hopefully, I'll avoid the dark chocolate this time, but yes, I will be there. I'm leaving. Like I said, I'm leaving tomorrow, so.
So was it lucrative?
It was a thing.
Wow. Now, you could have also done, well, spiritually, it was uplifting.
If that had been the case, I probably would have said that, but not even spiritually at this point.
Wait a minute. Jorgon's posting shit. So I don't even know if he's lurking. But now he's responding. You know what? And I still believe that discussion is bullshit. Even if Han is the captain of the Millennium Falcon, technically Chewie's the one who's pretty much driving, keeping that thing in the air. Give the motherfucking Wookiee a medal.
Hashtag give Wookiee a medal.
Medal my Wookiee.
Medal my Wookiee. All right. This is gonna happen. Hold on. Let me see. Gotta go open up the Twitters. Oh wait, I gotta copy the fucking watch link again. God damn it! Why do I do this to myself? Phone, work with me. Phone, why aren't you working with me? Phone, why do you hate me? Phone, god damn it. Phone, bad phone. Oh, you're trying to tell me I need an update. Good to know. Thanks. Thank you, phone, for telling me that. Now, yeah, fuck.
Oh no, I don't think I want to look at this. Jorgon linked me into a YouTube video that's called Bill Cosby's Special Barbecue Sauce.
Oh no.
Yeah. When it's Jorgon doing it, yes. Oh no. I will watch it later though. I'm gonna have to.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to. You don't have to look. You don't have to do this to yourself, Doc. I swear.
Well, you know, the only person that I will not click on a link for it's Fistable Frodo. Might be a good kid, but I sure as fuck don't trust him when he sends me a link. Here, take a look at this. No, because it's going to be some type of like horse fucking porn.
I have a buddy like that. He text messages me shit, and I just don't open them anymore. He's like, "Hey, did you see that thing?" I said, "No, I don't open messages from you."
Well, I have a wrestling friend of mine who figured it out. So he sends me texts through Messenger, and the last one he sent was a drunk redneck with a baby alligator, and he kept doing the waving the finger back and forth in its mouth, and it didn't bite down on it. And then he put it close to his nipple, and it didn't bite the nipple. Then the dumbass whips out his dick. Guess what happens?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's now ready for that Prince Albert that he always wanted. Because alligator do dick piercings.
Yeah. No. 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 Don't. Disclaimer. Don't try that at home, children.
Hashtag never be that fucking drunk again.
Yeah. Hashtag don't be a dumbass.
Well, some people can't help it. It's a genetic thing.
True.
Oh, by the way, I thought about getting Troy Duffy on.
Yeah. But he's too much. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, because everything that I've seen, he was he fell victim to a massive meltdown. His ego got the fucking best of him, and that's something that I would want to explore. And I'm pretty sure that those wounds are still fresh.
Yeah.
I mean, even though it's been decades since he's made it. Woo! Hey, once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking for the best in bootleg Medicare merchandise, go to my TeePublic store. Somebody just did, and they picked up a shirt of Mr. Medicare Doesn't Care. Hey, now it kind of gets flowing since he's doing it regularly, and everybody's asking for merchandise. And I asked him a long time ago. I said, why don't you put out some merch here? Here's some stuff. That you can post up. As long as I get a shirt out of it, then it's cool. And he's like, I don't want to waste my time with this. He's like, you want to do it? I don't care. So I've got like 5 different Medicare shirts in. Including one of my original designs for Sweetie Squad. And holy fuck, one of those sold too. So now I have made, I think, a total of, $18 off of Mr. Medicare. And I thank him for that. Woo! Nice. Because, that's a decent bottle of liquor. Not a good one, but a decent one. So, holla! I guess I should also say that we've got, I think we do. Wait a minute. Come on. I promise, computer, I'm not replacing you. There's nothing in that box out there.
Lies.
Yeah. So when's the new setup coming?
I've got the CPU sitting here. I also have the new what do you call it? Mouse pad with the gel thing. I have the sorry, I'm starting to hiccup for some reason, like it wants me to throw up. Ooh. No, you will stay down, Church's chicken. And I also got a 7-port dock for USB. And I've got like 3 or 4 more things coming. I've got the new keyboard and mouse. I've got an external writable drive and oh god damn it, a hard drive cradle dock. And of course, I also have a new monitor coming. Nice. So once I get all those pieces together,
you can piece it together.
Yeah, I just might have it all and ready and available and up and running by the time I do the next week's interview with Justin.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Or Ghastly Ghost, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this one's going to be an interesting one because I asked him to come on Rolling with Sisyphus initially. And he did, and we had a really good discussion. We talked about a lot of things. And now a lot of things have changed because, I mean, it always technically has been a one-man operation, but his comedic virtuoso is gone now.
Yeah.
And, you know, I definitely do not want to get into that drama because honestly, I don't think it's drama because they're still friends. And anybody who says I would rather lose a business partnership than lose a friend that I've had for decades, then I just as soon lose the business and not the friend. So they parted company very amicably.
Yeah.
But that still leaves an incredibly huge hole in Gulf City because, you know, the main the protagonist and one of the main antagonists were voiced by Johnny Mac, who did AP.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be, I mean, that's something that we're going to talk about, but we're not going to dwell on this. So somebody left. I basically want to phrase it to the, well, you know, you're kind of in a rebuilding phase here. You know, where do you start? Because they have a very loyal and very rabid fan base. And a lot of people, well, there were more than a few that were trying to split the fan base.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll notice that Ghastly doesn't run when AP runs. AP doesn't run when Ghastly runs.
Yeah.
There's still a mutual respect there. So you can support both of them. It's just one of them's no longer flying under the Gulf City banner.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's because I know Ghastly's pushing. I know Justin is pushing to try to get onto Cartoon Network. But I honestly can't imagine what the show would look like because it would have to be tamed down.
Maybe not.
Well, I mean, they've already got the nice gimmick to where their drug is a non-existent drug. So they can't have people going against and going, oh, you promote drug use. It's fake. It's krill.
I mean, they've had some they've had some pretty out there stuff on Cartoon Network before on the Adult Swim. And if worse comes to worse, like it'd be an interesting show for them to try and get onto. It'd be the next kind of South Park they could try and get onto Comedy Central if they really wanted.
Well, but you know that Comedy Central didn't want South Park after they got the first episode.
Yeah, they're still keeping it going.
Oh yeah, I mean, because they were just like, fuck it, we have this, let's go ahead and run it. And it was an overwhelming response. And they're like, oh shit. That's kind of like how they didn't know how good the Dave Chappelle show was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So they were very weary. And then, you know, when Chappelle's like, fuck you, I'm done. They're like, here's $20 gazillion. Stay with us. Please shuck and jive. See, you did it too.
Shit. Yeah. I think it's about my time to get going.
Well, we can.
Mine as well.
We can do this civilly and all cash in at the same time.
I don't know.
Sounds
Do you
good
want
to me.
Yeah. We all want to go at the same time.
I didn't know that. Numbskull says the show is a pun on Russian suicide epidemic. Just saying, if they know where it stems from, they will be reluctant. Okay, well, that's something I didn't know. And yes, for our guests, Lo-Fi didn't pimp anything, but You can find Lo-Fi running around in various places.
Moon of Best Destiny is the main one.
Yeah, Manifest Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
And Chop Top, you care to pimp anything?
I don't have anything to pimp. I haven't
Just
done anything on my channel yet.
just go sub to him on Ditwatters. Because once he does get shit up and running, then you can actually go watch it.
That's where you'll be able to find out. I'm thinking about recording the next glove I build. I went out and got a cheap little GoPro.
Oh, cool. Well, if nothing
setting it
else,
up in the
I like
garage and just showing the important parts. If anybody wants to do it, there's a video there for them.
Well, I would certainly show up for it. I find builds fascinating.
I just like the learning experience from tinkering. You know, the more you do something, the better you get at it, the more you figure out. Well, a little puzzle.
Well, it follows along the same thing where I like to watch people draw too. Because I love to hang in and see how it gets to the finished product.
So you were a big fan of How It's Made?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that show. It's like hypnotism and therapy all in one.
And there's another one too, and I can't remember what it was. I've got it bookmarked, so every time it pops up, I'll go watch it. It's this one guy who tests theories. He pressed his own record. He took a record and put it into alginate. He vacuumed all the bubbles out, but then he put it in alginate and got a copy of it, and then he poured in just regular resin into the mold and brought it out, and he could actually play an LP that he pressed from alginate. I like when people test shit like that too. Like, hey, this sounds weird. Let's see if it works. Not Darwin-like, but. And Kadant.
Oh, yeah. I'm also on Moonfest every Wednesday with Lo-Fi. And I'm also I put links to Moonfest, and Lo-Fi is Twitter and my Twitter. I mean, I make content, but it's stupid content. Like, longest video is 2 minutes, and it's dumb because I don't feel like putting effort into anything I make. Like, I'm just like, and here's a video. There you go.
Here's my thoughts. I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah. Like,
that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, like, I'm just like, here you go, 20 seconds. I'm listening to music and look, cleavage. There you go. Enjoy.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. It's only. All right, man. I'm just sorry. God damn it, Bill. I'll watch you in a second. But the scene starts off with all the young kids around with their boyfriends just hugging and being nice. And Cosby says it's because of his barbecue sauce. So, oh my.
Oh my.
Oh my. So yeah, for Chop Top and for Kadad and for Lo-Fi, everybody, the sun's getting ready to come up. So I hope everybody has a really good day because, well, I'm going to bed, fuckers.
Yep.
Night.
Good night.